The Book of Jubilees, Chapter 1, God's revelation to Moses on Mount Sinai. And Moses went up into the mount of God, and the glory of the Lord abode on Mount Sinai, and a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moses on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud, and the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a flaming fire on the top of the mount. And Moses was on the mount 40 days and 40 nights, and God taught him the earlier and the later history of the division of all the days of the law and of the testimony. And he said, Incline your heart to every word which I shall speak to you on this mount, and write them on a scroll, in order that their generations may see how I have not forsaken them for all the evil which they have done in transgressing the covenant which I established between me and you for their generations this day on Mount Sinai. And thus it will come to pass, when all these things come upon them, that they will recognize that I am more righteous than they in all their judgments and in all their actions, and they will recognize that I have been true with them. And write for yourself all these words which I declare to you this day, for I know their rebellion and their stiff neck, before I bring them into the land which I swore to their fathers, to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob, saying, Unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey. And they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange gods, which cannot deliver them from any of their tribulation. And this witness shall be heard for a witness against them. For they will forget all my commandments, all that I command them, and they will walk after the Gentiles, and after their uncleanness, and after their shame, and will serve their gods. And these will prove to them an offence and a tribulation, and an affliction and a snare. And many will perish, and they will be taken captive, and will fall into the hands of the enemy, because they have forsaken my ordinances and my commandments and the festivals. They will make for themselves high places and groves and carved images, and they will worship each his own image so as to go astray. They will even sacrifice their children to demons and to all the works of the error of their hearts. I will send witnesses to them, that I may testify against them, but they will not listen. They will kill the witnesses also, and they will persecute those who seek the law. They will abolish and change everything, so as to work evil before my eyes. I shall hide my face from them, and I shall deliver them into the hand of the Gentiles for captivity, for plunder, and for devouring. I shall remove them from the midst of the land, and I shall scatter them among the Gentiles. They will forget all my law and all my commandments and all my judgments, and will go astray concerning new moons, Sabbaths, festivals, jubilees, and ordinances. But after this they will return to me from among the Gentiles, with all their heart, and with all their soul, and with all their strength. I shall gather them from among all the Gentiles, and they will seek me, and they will find me when they seek with all their heart and with all their soul. I shall disclose to them abounding peace with righteousness. I shall plant them in uprightness with all my heart and with all my soul. They will be for a blessing and not for a curse, and they will be the head and not the tail. I shall build my sanctuary in their midst, and I shall dwell with them. I shall be their God, and they will be my people in truth and righteousness. I shall not forsake them nor fail them, for I am the Lord their God. And Moses fell on his face and prayed, and said, O Lord my God, do not forsake your people and your inheritance, so they should not wander in the error of their hearts. Do not deliver them into the hands of their enemies, the Gentiles, lest they should rule over them and cause them to sin against you. Let your mercy, O Lord, be lifted up upon your people, and create in them an upright spirit. Let not the spirit of Beliar rule over them to accuse them before you, or to ensnare them from the paths of righteousness, so that they may perish from before your face. But they are your people and your inheritance, whom you delivered with your great power from the hands of the Egyptians. Create in them a clean heart and a holy spirit, and let them not be ensnared in their sins from this time forward until eternity. And the Lord said to Moses, I know their contrariness, their thoughts, and their stiff neck, and they will not be obedient until they confess their own sin and the sin of their fathers. But after this they will turn to me in uprightness and with all their heart and with all their soul. I shall circumcise the foreskin of their heart and the foreskin of the heart of their seed. I shall create in them a holy spirit, and I shall cleanse them so they will not turn away from me from that day unto eternity. Their souls will cling to me and to all my commandments, and they will fulfill my commandments. I shall be their father, and they will be my children. They will all be called children of the living God. Every angel and every spirit will know that these are my children, that I am their Father in uprightness and righteousness, and that I love them. And the Lord said, Write down for yourself all these words which I declare to you on this mountain, the first and the last, which shall come to pass in all the divisions of the days, in the law and in the testimony and in the weeks and in the jubilees unto eternity, until I descend and dwell with them throughout eternity. And the Lord said to the angel of the presence, Write for Moses from the beginning of creation until my sanctuary is built among my people for all eternity. And I will appear to the eyes of all, and all will know that I am the God of Israel, the Father of the children of Jacob, and the King on Mount Zion forever. And Zion and Jerusalem will be holy. Then the angel of the presence, who went before the camp of Israel, took the tablets of the divisions of the years from the time of creation, of the law, of the testimony, of the weeks and the jubilees, year by year according to their number. From the day of the new creation, when the heavens and the earth shall be renewed with all their hosts, until the sanctuary of the Lord is established in Jerusalem upon Mount Zion. And from that day all the luminaries will be renewed for healing, for peace, and for blessing for all the chosen people of Israel, from that time and forever. Chapter 2. The creation of the world and institution of the Sabbath. The angel dictates to Moses the primeval history, the creation and the Sabbath. The angel of the presence spoke to Moses according to the word of the Lord, saying, Write the complete history of creation, how in 6 days the Lord God finished all his works and all that he created, and kept the Sabbath on the 7th day, and hallowed it for all ages as a sign for all his works. On the 1st day he created the heavens above, the earth and the waters, and all the spirits that serve before him, the angels of the presence, the angels of sanctification, the angels of fire, of wind, of cloud, of darkness, of snow, of hail and frost, the angels of thunder and lightning, the angels of cold and heat, of winter, spring, autumn and summer, and all the spirits of his creatures in the heavens and on the earth. He created the abysses and the darkness, evening and night, the light, the dawn and the day, prepared in the knowledge of his heart. When we saw his works, we praised him, for 7 great works he created on the 1st day. On the 2nd day he made the firmament in the midst of the waters, dividing those above from those below. On the 3rd day he gathered the waters into one place, so that dry land appeared. The waters obeyed, and the land appeared. On that day he made the seas, rivers, mountains, lakes, dew of the earth, seeds, plants, fruit-bearing trees, trees of the wood, and the Garden of Eden. 4 great works he made on the 3rd day. On the 4th day he created the sun, moon, and stars, setting them in the heavens to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to divide light from darkness. He appointed the sun as a great sign on the earth, marking days, Sabbaths, months, feasts, years, Sabbaths of years, jubilees, and all seasons. These he made for prosperity, so that all things on earth might grow and flourish. On the 5th day he created the great sea creatures, fish, and every living thing that moves in the waters, and every bird that flies. The sun rose to prosper them, along with every green thing upon the earth. On the 6th day he created the beasts of the earth, the cattle, and everything that moves upon the ground. After this he made man, male and female, giving them dominion over all the earth, the seas, the birds, and every living thing. 4 works he made on the 6th day. Altogether there were 22 kinds of works. He finished all his work on the 6th day. All that is in the heavens, the earth, the seas, the abysses, light and darkness, everything. And he gave us a great sign, the Sabbath day, that we should work 6 days, but rest on the 7th. All the angels of the presence and angels of sanctification were commanded to keep the Sabbath with him, both in heaven and on earth. He said, I will set apart a people from all nations, and they will keep the Sabbath. I will bless them as I have blessed the Sabbath day, and they will be my people, and I will be their God. He chose the seed of Jacob, his firstborn son, to keep the Sabbath forever. In this he made a sign, that they should keep Sabbath with the angels, to eat and drink, and to bless him who created all things. Their obedience rose before him as a sweet fragrance all the days. There were 22 heads of mankind from Adam to Jacob, and 22 kinds of works made until the Sabbath. Both are holy and blessed, one serving with the other for sanctification and blessing. To Jacob and his seed it was granted to be the holy and blessed people, as he sanctified the Sabbath day. God made heaven, earth, and all things in 6 days, but the 7th he made holy. Therefore he commanded that whoever defiles it shall die. Command the children of Israel to keep this day holy, not to work or defile it, for it is holier than all other days. Whoever profanes it shall surely die, but those who keep it will remain in the land. Everyone who observes it will be holy and blessed, like the angels. Say to the children of Israel, keep the Sabbath, do not forsake it. Do not follow your own pleasures, or prepare food, or carry burdens on this day. They shall not bring in or take out from house to house, for this day is more holy than any Jubilee day. On this day we kept Sabbath in heaven before it was known on earth. The Creator blessed this day, but he did not sanctify all nations to keep it, only Israel. He made it a blessing and a glory above all days. This law and testimony was given to Israel as a law forever, through all their generations. Chapter 3. Paradise and the Fall. On the 6th day of the 2nd week, we brought before Adam all the creatures that God had made. The wild animals came first, then the cattle, then the birds of the air, then all that crawled upon the earth, and finally the creatures of the waters, each according to their kind. Adam named them one by one, and as he spoke their names, so they were called. Yet in all of them he found no companion like himself. He was alone. Then the Lord said, It is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper for him. And God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. While he slept, God took one of his ribs, closed up the flesh, and from that rib he formed the woman. When Adam awoke, God brought her to him. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called my wife, for she was taken out of man." From that day it was ordained that a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. After 40 days in the land where Adam had been created, we brought him into the Garden of Eden to work and guard it. His wife entered the garden later, on the 80th day. Eden was holier than all the earth, for every tree there was holy. Adam tilled the garden, gathered its fruit, and set aside what they needed. They were naked, yet they were not ashamed. But after 7 years in Eden, the serpent came to the woman. "Did God really say, 'You shall not eat from every tree of the garden'? We may eat of the fruit of the trees, but of the tree in the middle of the garden God has said, 'You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die.' You will not die. God knows that when you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like him, knowing good and evil." The woman saw that the tree was beautiful, its fruit good for food, and desirable to make one wise. She took and ate, then gave to her husband, and he ate also. Their eyes were opened, and they saw that they were naked. They sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. God cursed the serpent and was angry with the woman, saying, "I will multiply your sorrow. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." To Adam he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree I commanded you not to eat, cursed is the ground because of you. By the sweat of your face you will eat your bread until you return to the earth, for dust you are, and to dust you will return." Then God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife, and clothed them. He sent them out from the Garden of Eden. On the day Adam left, he offered incense and spices as an offering to God with the rising sun. From that day the voices of the animals were silenced, for before then they all spoke with one tongue. God sent out from the garden all the living creatures according to their kinds. Adam alone was given clothing to cover his shame. And so it was written on the heavenly scrolls that all who know the judgment of God must cover themselves and not live in the nakedness of the nations. On the new moon of the 4th month, Adam and his wife departed from Eden and dwelt in the land of their nativity. Adam called his wife's name Eve. In time they tilled the land as they had been taught in Eden. Chapter 4. Cain and Abel. In the 3rd week of the 2nd Jubilee, Eve bore Cain. In the 4th week she bore Abel. In the 5th she bore her daughter Awan. In the 1st year of the 3rd Jubilee, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him, because the Lord had accepted Abel's sacrifice, but did not accept Cain's offering. Cain slew him in the field, and Abel's blood cried out from the ground to heaven. The Lord reproved Cain because he had killed his brother. He cursed him and made him a fugitive upon the earth. And on account of this it is written on the heavenly scrolls, "Cursed is the one who strikes down his neighbour in secret." Let all who see and hear declare, "So be it." But the one who sees and does not speak is cursed like the murderer himself. Because of this, we announce before the Lord all sin that is committed in heaven and on earth, in the light and in the dark, everywhere. Adam and his wife mourned for Abel many years. In time Adam knew his wife again, and she bore him a son, and he called his name Seth. For Adam said, "God has raised up for us another seed in place of Abel, for Cain killed him." And later she bore a daughter named Azurah. Cain took his sister Awan as his wife, and she bore him a son, Enoch. Cain built a city and called it after his son's name. Adam knew his wife again, and she bore him 9 sons. In the days of the 5th Jubilee, Seth took his sister Azurah as his wife, and she bore him a son named Enos. In his days men began to call upon the name of the Lord. Enos' wife was his sister Noam, and she bore him a son named Kenan. Kenan took his sister Mualaleth as wife, and she bore him Mahalalel. Mahalalel took Dinah, the daughter of his father's brother, as wife, and she bore him Jared. In the days of Jared the angels of the Lord descended to earth, those who are called the Watchers, that they might instruct the children of men and guide them in righteousness. Jared's wife was Barakah, the daughter of his father's brother, and she bore him Enoch. Enoch was the first of men to learn writing, knowledge, and wisdom. He wrote down the signs of heaven according to their months, so that men might know the seasons of the years. He bore witness to the generations of the earth and declared the order of the Sabbaths, jubilees, and years. He saw in visions what had been and what was to come until the day of judgment, and he wrote it down as a testimony for all. He testified against the watchers who sinned with the daughters of men. Because of this he was taken up from among the children of men and brought into the Garden of Eden in majesty and honour. There he writes down the judgment of the world and the wickedness of the generations. Because of these things God brought the flood upon the earth. Enoch's wife was Edne, the daughter of his father's brother, and she bore him Methuselah. Methuselah's wife was Edna, the daughter of Azriel, and she bore him Lamech. Lamech's wife was Betanos, the daughter of his father's brother, and she bore him Noah. Lamech said, "This one will comfort us in our work and in the toil of our hands, for the ground the Lord has cursed." At the end of the 19th Jubilee, Adam died. All his sons buried him. He was the first to be buried in the earth. He lacked 70 years of 1,000, for 1,000 years are as one day in the testimony of heaven. Therefore it was written concerning the tree of knowledge, "On the day you eat of it you will surely die." Adam died within that day. In that same year Cain was also killed, for the house he had built fell upon him. He had killed his brother with a stone, and by a stone he was judged. For this reason it was written on the heavenly scrolls, "With the weapon by which a man kills his neighbour, with the same he shall be killed." Noah took Emzara, the daughter of his father's brother, as wife. She bore him 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Chapter 5. The fall of the angels and their punishment, the deluge foretold. And it came to pass, when the children of men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the angels of God saw them in a certain year of that Jubilee, that they were beautiful to look upon. They took wives for themselves of all whom they chose, and they bore unto them sons, and they were giants. Lawlessness increased on the earth, and all flesh corrupted its way, alike men and cattle and beasts and birds and everything that walks on the earth. All of them corrupted their ways and their orders, and they began to devour each other. Evil spread quickly, and every imagination of the thoughts of men was only wicked continually. God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted its order, and all that were upon the earth had done evil before his eyes. And he said, I shall destroy man and all flesh upon the face of the earth, which I have created. But Noah found grace before the eyes of the Lord. Against the angels whom he had sent upon the earth, the Lord was deeply upset. He gave command to root them out of all their dominion, and he commanded that they be bound in the depths of the earth. And behold, they are bound there, kept separate until the day of judgment. Against their sons went forth another command, that they should be struck with the sword and removed from under heaven. Then God said, My spirit will not always abide with man, for they are flesh, and their days shall be 120 years. And he sent his sword into their midst, so that each would slay his neighbour. They began to destroy one another until none remained, and their fathers were witnesses of their destruction. After this the angels were bound in the depths of the earth forever, until the day of the great condemnation, when judgment is executed upon all who have corrupted their ways and their works before the Lord. God destroyed them from their places, not one escaped his judgment. And he made for all his works a new and righteous nature, so that they should not sin in their whole being forever, but should remain righteous in their kind always. For the judgment of all is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets in righteousness. Every path is accounted for, and if they turn aside, judgment is written down for every creature and for every kind. There's nothing in heaven or on earth, in light or in darkness, in Sheol or in the depths, that is not subject to his judgment. All is written and engraved. He will judge the great according to their greatness, the small according to their smallness, and each according to his way. He shows no partiality, nor does he receive gifts. Even if one gave everything on the earth, he would not accept it, for he is a righteous judge. Of the children of Israel it has been written and ordained that if they turn to him in righteousness, he will forgive all their transgressions and pardon their sins. It is written and ordained that he will show mercy to all who turn from their guilt once each year. As for those who corrupted their ways and their thoughts before the flood, no one was found worthy except Noah. On account of him his sons were spared, for his heart was righteous in all his ways, and he did not depart from what was commanded. The Lord said he would destroy everything that was upon the earth, men and cattle, beasts and birds, and all that moved upon the earth. He commanded Noah to make an ark, that he might save himself from the waters of the flood. Noah made the ark in all respects as he commanded in the 27th Jubilee of years, in the 5th week in the 5th year, on the new moon of the 1st month. He entered the ark in the 6th year, in the 2nd month, from the new moon until the 16th day, he and all that we brought to him. On the 17th evening, the Lord himself shut the ark from the outside. Then the Lord opened the 7 floodgates of heaven, and the mouths of the fountains of the great deep, 7 in number. The floodgates poured down water for 40 days and 40 nights, and the fountains of the deep also sent up waters, until the whole world was full of water. The waters rose upon the earth, 15 cubits above the highest mountains. And the ark was lifted up and moved upon the face of the waters. The waters prevailed on the earth for 5 months, 150 days. The ark came to rest upon the mountain of Lubar, one of the mountains of Ararat. On the new moon of the 4th month, the fountains of the great deep were closed, and the floodgates of heaven were restrained. On the new moon of the 7th month, the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened, and the waters began to sink into the deep below. On the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen. On the new moon of the 1st month, the earth became visible. The waters disappeared from above the earth in the 5th week of the 7th year, and on the 17th day of the 2nd month the earth was dry. On the 27th day Noah opened the ark and sent forth beasts, cattle, birds, and every moving thing. Chapter 6. Noah's sacrifice and God's covenant with Noah. On the new moon of the 3rd month, Noah went forth from the ark and built an altar on the mountain. He made atonement for the earth, taking a young goat and offering its blood for all the guilt of the earth. For everything upon it had been destroyed except those that were in the ark with him. He placed the fat upon the altar, and he took an ox, a goat, a sheep, a young goat, salt, a turtle dove, and the young of a dove. He placed them for a burnt sacrifice upon the altar, poured out an offering mingled with oil, sprinkled wine, and strewed frankincense over all. A sweet fragrance rose, acceptable before the Lord. The Lord smelled the goodly savour, and he made a covenant with Noah that there should never again be a flood to destroy the earth. All the days of the earth, seed time and harvest would never cease. Cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night would not change their order, nor cease for ever. The Lord said, "Increase and multiply upon the earth, become many and be a blessing upon it. The fear and dread of you I shall place in everything that is on the earth and in the sea. I have given to you all beasts, all winged creatures, all that moves on the earth, and the fish in the waters. As the green herbs I have given you all things to eat. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood, you shall not eat. For the life of all flesh is in the blood, and your own blood I will require. At the hand of every man, at the hand of every beast, I will require the blood of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God was man made, and you increase and multiply upon the earth." Noah and his sons swore they would not eat any blood that was in flesh. And Noah made a covenant before the Lord for all generations of the earth in that month. For this reason the Lord told Moses to make a covenant with the children of Israel on the mountain with an oath, to sprinkle blood upon them because of all the words of the covenant which the Lord made with them forever. This testimony was written so it would be observed continually. No one should eat the blood of beasts or birds or cattle. Whoever does so, he and his seed will be rooted out from the land. The children of Israel were commanded to keep this law forever, so that their names and their seed might be before the Lord continually. Each day, with morning and evening offerings, blood would be offered before the altar, so that Israel might continually seek forgiveness and not be cut off. The Lord gave to Noah and his sons a sign that there would never again be a flood to destroy the earth. He set his bow in the clouds as a sign of the eternal covenant. For this reason it was ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the Feast of Weeks once a year, in this month, to renew the covenant every year. This festival was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation until the days of Noah, 26 jubilees and 5 weeks of years. Noah and his sons observed it for 7 jubilees and 1 week of years until Noah's death. But after his death, his sons neglected it until the days of Abraham, and they began to eat blood again. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob observed it. But in the days of Moses the children of Israel had forgotten it, until it was celebrated anew on Mount Sinai. The children of Israel were commanded to observe this festival throughout their generations. 1 day in the year, in this month, they should celebrate it. For it is both the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of First Fruits, a double festival, written and engraved concerning it. On the heavenly tablets it was written. They were to celebrate it in its season, 1 day in the year, with the appointed sacrifices, so that Israel would remember and keep it throughout their generations. The new moon of the 1st month, the 4th month, the 7th month, and the 10th month were appointed as days of remembrance, the 4 divisions of the year. These were written and ordained as a testimony forever, and Noah ordained them as feasts for himself and his generations. On the new moon of the 1st month he was commanded to build the ark, and on that day the earth became dry, and he opened it to see the land. On the new moon of the 4th month, the mouths of the abysses beneath were closed. On the new moon of the 7th month, the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened, and the waters began to descend. On the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah rejoiced. For this reason he ordained them for himself as memorial feasts forever, and they were written upon the heavenly tablets. Each quarter had 13 weeks, passing one to the next, from the first to the second to the third, and the third to the fourth. All the days of the commandment completed 52 weeks, a full year of 364 days. Thus it was engraved and ordained on the heavenly tablets. There was to be no neglecting this commandment, not for 1 year or from year to year. The children of Israel were commanded to observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days, a complete year. They were not to disturb the order of days and feasts, for all would fall in their proper time. If they neglected this order, they would disturb the seasons, the years would be dislodged, and their ordinances forgotten. Then Israel would lose track of new moons, seasons, and Sabbaths, and all the order of the year would go astray. The angel said, "For I know, and now I declare it to you, not of my own devising, but from what is written before me on the heavenly tablets. The division of days is ordained, lest Israel forget the feasts of the covenant and follow the feasts of the nations in error. For there will be those who will observe the moon, and it will disturb the seasons, coming in 10 days too soon year by year. For this reason they will confuse the order, making an unclean day a feast day, and confounding the holy with the unclean. They will go astray in months, Sabbaths, feasts, and jubilees. Therefore I command you to testify to them. After your death your children will disturb the order, no longer keeping the year at 364 days. For this reason they will go astray regarding new moons, seasons, Sabbaths, and festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. Chapter 7. Noah offers sacrifice. The cursing of Canaan, Noah's sons and grandsons, and their cities. In the 7th week, in the 1st year of that Jubilee, Noah planted a vineyard on Mount Luba, the mountain where the ark had rested, one of the Ararat mountains. He guarded the fruit, and in the 4th year it produced its harvest. He made wine from it and stored it until the 5th year, on the 1st day of the new moon of the 1st month. On that day he celebrated with joy, offering a burnt sacrifice to the Lord, a young ox, a ram, 7 sheep a year old, and a young goat to make atonement for himself and for his sons. He prepared the young goat first, placing its blood upon the flesh of the altar, and laid all the fat upon the altar as a burnt offering, along with the ox, ram, and sheep. He placed their flesh on the altar, mingled their offerings with oil, sprinkled wine upon the fire, and placed incense upon the altar, causing a sweet fragrance to rise before the Lord. Noah rejoiced and drank of the wine, he and his children, with gladness. But in the evening, being drunk, he lay uncovered in his tent. Ham saw his father's nakedness and told his brothers outside. Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it upon their shoulders, and walked backward, covering their father without looking upon him. When Noah awoke and knew what had been done, he cursed his son, saying, "Cursed be Canaan, an enslaved servant shall he be to his brothers." And he blessed Shem, saying, "Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and may he dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant." Ham knew that his father had cursed his younger son, and he was displeased. He parted from his father, he and his sons with him, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Ham built for himself a city and called it after the name of his wife Nalah. Japheth also built a city, naming it after his wife Adah-Nes. Shem dwelt with his father Noah, and built a city near him on the mountain, which he called after his wife, said Caleb. Thus there were 3 cities near Mount Luba, said Caleb facing east, Nalah to the south, and Adah-Nes toward the west. The sons of Shem were Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, who was born 2 years after the flood, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. These are the sons and grandsons of Noah. In the 28th Jubilee, Noah began to instruct his sons and grandsons in the ordinances and commandments, and in the judgments that he knew. He exhorted them to walk in righteousness, to cover the shame of their flesh, to bless their Creator, to honour father and mother, to love their neighbour, and to guard their souls from fornication, uncleanness, and all iniquity. For because of these 3 things, he said, the flood came upon the earth, fornication, when the watchers broke their covenant and went after the daughters of men, uncleanness, when they took wives for themselves as they chose, and iniquity, for they made the beginning of corruption. They begat giants, the Nephilim, who were unlike any others. They devoured one another. The Nephilim slew the Naphil, and the Naphil slew the Eljo, and the Eljo slew mankind. One man slew another, and the earth was filled with blood. They sinned also against the beasts, the birds, and every creature that moves on the earth. Much blood was shed, and every imagination of man's heart was evil continually. Therefore the Lord destroyed everything from off the face of the earth because of the wickedness of their deeds and the blood they shed. But we were left, I and you, my sons, and all that entered with us into the ark. Yet I see your works, that you do not walk in righteousness. You are turning to envy and division, each against his brother, and I see that demons have begun to seduce you and your children. I fear that after my death you will shed blood upon the earth and be destroyed as those before the flood. For whoever sheds man's blood or eats the blood of flesh will be destroyed from the earth. They will have no seed or descendants, but will go down into Sheol, into the place of condemnation, into the darkness of the deep, removed by violent death. Therefore let no blood be seen upon you in all the days when you kill beasts, cattle, or birds. Cover the blood and do good to your souls by hiding it upon the face of the earth. Do not be like those who eat with the blood. Guard yourselves that none of you may eat blood before you, for thus have I been commanded to testify to you and your children, together with all flesh. The soul is in the blood. Do not eat the soul with the flesh, lest your own blood be required at the hand of any flesh that sheds it. For the earth cannot be cleansed from the blood that is shed upon it, except by the blood of him who shed it. Only by his blood will the earth be purified throughout all generations. And now, my children, listen to me. Do judgment and righteousness, that you may be planted in righteousness upon the face of the whole earth, and that your glory may be lifted up before my God, who saved me from the waters of the flood. Go, build cities, and plant vineyards and fruit-bearing trees. For 3 years you shall not gather the fruit of your trees. In the 4th year the fruit will be holy, an offering of first fruits acceptable before the Most High. The first of the wine and oil you shall offer on the altar of the Lord, and what remains shall be for the servants of his house to eat before him. In the 5th year you shall make a release, doing righteousness and uprightness, and you shall prosper in all that you plant. For so did Enoch, the father of your grandfather, command Methuselah his son, and Methuselah commanded Lamech, and Lamech commanded me all that their fathers had commanded them. And now I command you, my sons, as Enoch commanded his son in the first Jubilees. While he yet lived the seventh in his generation, he testified to his son and to his son's sons until the day of his death. Chapter 8. The genealogy of Shem and the division of the earth. In the 29th Jubilee, at the very beginning of the week, Arpachshad took a wife for himself. Her name was Rasuejah, the daughter of Susan, who was the daughter of Elam. In the 3rd year of that week she gave birth to a son, and they named him Cainam. As the boy grew, his father taught him how to write. Eager to find his own place in the world, Cainam set off to search for a city he could build. While exploring, he discovered an ancient inscription carved into the face of a rock by men of old. Curious, he read the strange words etched into the stone. What he found troubled him. The writing contained the teachings of the Watchers, those who once descended to the earth. It explained how they studied the signs of the heavens, using the movements of the sun, moon, and stars to interpret omens. Cainam copied the writing, but told no one. He kept the knowledge hidden, afraid to speak of it to Noah. He feared the righteous man would be angry, and so he stayed silent. Time passed. In the 30th Jubilee, Cainam took a wife named Melka, the daughter of Madai, who was the son of Japheth. In the 4th year they had a son, and he called his name Shelah, saying, "Truly I have been sent." Shelah grew strong and wise, and in time he took a wife named Muach, the daughter of Kesed, who was the brother of his father. In the 31st Jubilee, during the 5th week, they had a son, and named him Eber. Eber later married Azurad, the daughter of Nimrod, and in the 6th year of that same week she gave birth to a son. They named him Peleg, because it was in his days that the children of Noah began dividing the earth among themselves. At first they divided it in secret, and only afterward brought word of it to Noah. When the 33rd Jubilee began, in the very first week of the 1st year, they gathered together and cast lots to divide the earth into 3 regions, one for Shem, one for Ham, and one for Japheth, each according to their inheritance. One of the holy messengers had been sent to guide them in this task. Noah summoned his sons and their children, and they drew near. He opened his robe and brought forth a scroll from his chest. It was a written record of the division, and each of them reached out and drew their portion from it. Shem's lot was the middle of the earth, a blessed inheritance for him and his descendants. It began in the centre of the mountain range of Rapha, at the mouth of the Tina River. His land extended westward through that river until it reached the waters of the abyss, the source of the Tina. That river flowed onward into the Sea of Meat and emptied into the Great Sea. Everything to the north was to be Japheth's. Everything to the south belonged to Shem. Shem's territory stretched to Karaso, a land nestled in the southern curve of the continent. It ran along the Great Sea in a straight line until it reached the western tip of the tongue-shaped region looking southward, known as the tongue of the Egyptian Sea. From there it curved south, reaching the mouth of the Great Sea. It travelled west until it came to Afra, then stretched as far as the Gihon River. It passed beyond the southern banks of Gihon and followed the river eastward until it neared the Garden of Eden. The land came to rest just south of Eden, then turned east again. It extended past the whole eastern region, wrapped around Mount Rapha, and descended back to the mouth of the Tina River. This was the portion assigned to Shem, a land set apart for him and for all his generations forever. When Noah saw that Shem had received this portion, he rejoiced. He remembered the prophecy that had once come from his own lips. Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and may the Lord dwell in the dwelling of Shem. He knew then that the Garden of Eden was the holiest place, the very dwelling of the Lord. Mount Sinai stood at the heart of the wilderness. Mount Zion was the navel of the earth. These three places had been created to face one another, a divine triangle of holiness upon the earth. Noah lifted his hands and blessed the God of gods, who had placed these words in his mouth, the Lord who would reign forever. He understood then that Shem's inheritance was truly blessed. His land included all of Eden, the coasts of the Red Sea, the eastern lands including India, the mountains of Bashan and Lebanon, the islands of Kaftur, the ranges of Sanir and Amana, the northern peaks of Ashur, the lands of Elam, Ashur, Babel, Susan and Madai. It stretched over the mountains of Ararat and even to the distant regions beyond the northern sea. It was a vast and beautiful land, and everything in it was good. Ham's lot came second. His land began beyond the Gihon River, stretching to the south, to the right side of the garden. It extended far to the south and reached the mountains of fire. From there it went westward to the Sea of Attel, and then further to the Sea of Malk, that deep abyss into which all things not destroyed are drawn down. From there it curved northward to the outer edge of Gadir, ran along the coastline of the Great Sea, and returned once more to the Gihon River, encircling the southern side of Eden. This land became Ham's inheritance, a portion to belong to him and to his children forever. Finally Japheth drew the third portion. His land stretched beyond the Tina River, north of its outflow. It reached northeast into the territory of Gog and further east beyond it. His land spread north to the Kelt Mountains and ran alongside the Sea of Malk. They reached the eastern borders of Gadir, circled toward the region of Farah, and returned to the land of Apharag. From there his portion stretched eastward to the Sea of Meat, wrapping once again toward the Tina River and circling the northern base of Mount Rapha. This was Japheth's inheritance, a cold and distant land, full of wide spaces, 5 great islands and vast territories in the north. The land of Ham was hot. The land of Shem was neither hot nor cold, but balanced, a harmony of both warmth and coolness. And so the world was divided, just as Noah had commanded, and just as the Lord had purposed. Jubilees. Chapter 9. The subdivision of the 3 portions among the grandchildren and the oath of Noah's sons. After Noah had divided the earth among his 3 sons, each of them turned and divided their portions among their own children. Ham divided his lot first. The first portion came to Cush, stretching eastward. To the west of Cush lay the inheritance of Mizraim, then further west the land of Put, and finally, along the sea to the far west, the land of Canaan. Shem divided his portion as well. The first lot fell to Elam. His inheritance stretched eastward from the great river Tigris, reaching toward the rising sun. It encompassed the whole land of India, the coasts along the Red Sea, the waters near Dedan, and the mountains of Mebri and Elah. It included all the land of Susan, and stretched toward the region of Farnak, reaching as far as the Red Sea and the river Tina. To Ashur came the second portion, all the land of Assyria, including Nineveh and Shinar, extending eastward until it touched the border of India, running along the great river's edge. To Arpachshad fell the third portion, the land of the Chaldees east of the Euphrates, reaching to the Red Sea. His inheritance included the waters of the desert near the tongue of the sea that faced Egypt, and all the land of Lebanon, Sanir, and Amanah, stretching to the border of the Euphrates. Aram received the fourth portion, all of Mesopotamia between the Tigris and the Euphrates, north of the Chaldees, stretching to the mountains of Asher and the land of Ararat. Lud received the fifth portion, the mountains of Asher and everything belonging to them, stretching to the great sea and eastward until it touched the border of his brother Asher. Then Japheth divided his inheritance. Gomer received the first portion, stretching eastward from the northern lands to the river Tina. To Magog fell the northern regions, vast and cold, reaching until they touched the Sea of Meat. Madai's portion was next. He received the lands west of his two brothers, reaching to the islands and the coastlands beyond. Javan received the fourth portion, all the islands, even those that stretched toward the border of Lud. Tubal's portion was the fifth. His inheritance lay within the midst of the tongue-shaped lands, extending toward the borders of Lud's territory, then reaching across to the second tongue and beyond it to the third tongue of land. Meshech received the sixth portion, all the regions beyond the third tongue, stretching until it neared the eastern edges of Gadir. Tiras received the seventh portion, 4 great islands lying in the midst of the sea. These islands reached toward the inheritance of Ham, and the islands of Kamaturi came forth by lot for the sons of Arpachshad as their inheritance. Thus the sons of Noah divided their portions among their children in the presence of their father. Noah bound them all with an oath, declaring a curse upon anyone who would seek to seize land that did not fall to him by his lot. And they all answered together, "So be it, so be it," pledging for themselves and for their children after them, through all generations until the day of judgment, when the Lord God will judge the earth with a sword and with fire, because of the unclean wickedness of men, the transgressions, fornications, and sins with which they filled the earth. Chapter 10. Noah's sons led astray by evil spirits, Noah's prayer, Mastema, the death of Noah, and the Tower of Babel. In the 3rd week of this Jubilee, unclean spirits began to lead astray the children of the sons of Noah. They confused them, blinded them, and even sought to destroy them. The sons of Noah went to their father and told him what was happening, how demons were causing his grandchildren to stumble and perish. Noah prayed to the Lord his God, saying, "God of the spirits of all flesh, you who have shown mercy to me, you who saved me and my sons from the waters of the flood, you who did not allow me to perish with those who were doomed, your grace has been great toward me, and your mercy has preserved my soul. Let your grace now rest upon my sons, and do not let wicked spirits rule over them, lest they destroy them from the earth. Bless me and bless my sons, that we may increase, multiply, and replenish the earth. You know how the watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my days. As for these spirits that still live, imprison them and hold them fast in the place of condemnation, so they may no longer bring destruction upon the sons of your servant, O my God. For these spirits are malignant, created only to corrupt and to destroy. Do not allow them to rule over the living, for you alone have dominion over all. Do not let them have power over the children of the righteous now or ever again." The Lord heard Noah's prayer and commanded that all the spirits be bound. But the chief of the spirits, Mastema, came before God and said, "Lord, Creator, let some of them remain under my authority. Let them listen to my voice and carry out my will among men. for without them I cannot accomplish my purposes. The hearts of men are wicked, and I must have spirits to lead them astray, and corrupt them until the day of judgment. And the Lord said, Let 1/10 of them remain with you, but the other 9 parts shall be bound in the place of condemnation. Then one of the holy messengers was commanded to teach Noah all the medicines of the earth, for God knew that men would not walk uprightly. The angel revealed to Noah the remedies for diseases, the ways to heal with herbs, and the cures against the seductions of evil spirits. Noah wrote all these things down in a scroll. He gave this book of healing to Shem, his beloved son. In this way the spirits were restrained from harming the children of Noah. Noah lived 950 years, 19 Jubilees, 2 weeks and 5 years. He was buried on Mount Lubar in the land of Ararat. Among all men he excelled in righteousness, second only to Enoch, who was taken for a testimony to future generations, to record all deeds until the day of judgment. In the 33rd Jubilee, in the first year of its 2nd week, Peleg took a wife named Lomna, the daughter of Sinah. In the 4th year she bore him a son, and he named him Reu, saying, The children of men have become wicked, for they plan to build a city and a tower in the land of Shinar. The people moved eastward from Ararat into the plain of Shinar. There they said, Let us build a city and a tower whose top will reach into heaven. They began their work, firing bricks to use in place of stone, and binding them with asphalt, drawn from the sea and from the fountains of the land. For 43 years they laboured. The tower rose to a height of 5,433 cubits and 2 palms. Its walls stretched for many stades, vast and towering above the plain. The Lord came down with his messengers to see the city and the tower. He said, Behold, they are one people, speaking one tongue. Now nothing they plan will be impossible for them. Come, let us confound their language so they will not understand one another's speech. So the Lord confused their tongues. The builders no longer understood each other and abandoned the work. The city was left unfinished, and its tower brought low by a mighty wind. For this reason the place is called Babel, for there the Lord confused the language of men and scattered them into nations. The tower was thrown down between Ashur and Babylon, and the people named it Overthrow. In the 34th Jubilee, in the 1st year of its 1st week, the people were dispersed from Shinar into their cities and lands. Ham and his sons moved into their southern inheritance, but Canaan looked at the land of Lebanon and the river of Egypt. Seeing that it was rich and beautiful, he chose it for himself. He ignored his lot toward the sea and dwelt instead in Lebanon, stretching from the Jordan to the coast. Ham, Cush, and Mizraim rebuked him, saying, You have settled in a land not given to you. This land was not your lot. If you remain here, you and your sons will be cursed. You have entered by rebellion, and by rebellion you will perish. You will be uprooted forever. Do not live in the inheritance of Shem, for it belongs to him and his sons. But Canaan did not listen. He stayed in Lebanon from Hamath to the river of Egypt, and his children remain there until this day. For this reason the land is called Canaan. Meanwhile Japheth and his sons moved toward their portion by the sea. But Madai looked upon the land by the waters, and it did not please him. He asked for a portion from Elam, Ashur, and Arpachshad, his wife's brothers, and they granted it. He settled instead in the land of Media, near his wife's kin. From that time the place was called Media, after his name, and his descendants dwell there to this day. Chapter 11. From Reu to Abraham, and the corruption of the human race in the 35th Jubilee. During its 3rd week, Roy took for himself a wife named Orah, the daughter of son of Kesed. In the 7th year of that week she bore him a son, and he called his name Serug. In those days the sons of Noah began to turn against one another. They made war, taking captives, shedding blood, and even eating blood. They built walled cities and towers. Men began to exalt themselves, and the first kingdoms were founded. Nation rose against nation, city against city, and all the earth was filled with violence. They forged weapons and taught their sons the art of war. They captured cities and began selling men and women as slaves. The son of Kesed, built a city and called it Ur of the Chaldees, naming it after himself and his father. There men fashioned molten images and worshipped them. They carved idols and unclean figures, and malignant spirits led them deeper into sin and corruption. The prince Mastema worked tirelessly in those days. He sent out the spirits under his control to corrupt mankind, leading them into bloodshed, destruction, and every kind of transgression. For this reason Serug was so named, because in his days everyone turned aside into wickedness. Serug grew up in Ur of the Chaldees. He too worshipped idols. In the 36th Jubilee he took a wife named Melka, the daughter of Caber, who was of his own kin. She bore him a son, and he called his name Nahor. Nahor lived in Ur of the Chaldees, where his father taught him the ways of divination and astrology, reading the signs of heaven according to the Chaldean traditions. In the 37th Jubilee, Nahor took a wife named Ijaska, daughter of Nestag of the Chaldees. She bore him a son, and he named him Terah. In those days Mastema again struck the earth. He sent flocks of ravens and birds to devour the seed from the fields, destroying the labour of men. Before they could even plough the land, the birds came and carried off the seed from the surface of the ground. For this reason Terah was named, because the ravens and birds reduced the land to famine and left the people destitute. Year after year the trees bore little fruit, for the birds devoured it all. Men struggled to keep even a small portion for themselves. In the 39th Jubilee, Terah took a wife named Edna, the daughter of Abram, who was of his own family line. In the 7th year of that week she bore him a son, and Terah called his name Abram, after the name of his mother's father, who had died before the child was conceived. As Abram grew, he saw the corruption of the world. By the age of 14 he understood that all men had gone astray after idols and uncleanness. His father taught him writing, but Abram chose not to join him in idolatry. Instead, he sought the Creator of all things, praying that he might be spared from the sins of mankind. When the time of sowing came, Abram went out with the people to guard their seed from the ravens. A great cloud of birds came down, but Abram ran before them and cried out, "Do not descend! Return to the place from which you came." And at his word, the ravens turned back. That day he turned them away 70 times, and not a single raven settled in all the land where Abram was. All who saw this marvelled, and Abram's name became great throughout the land of the Chaldees. From that year onward, farmers called upon him to help during the sowing. They sowed their land, and for the first time in many years they gathered enough grain to eat and be satisfied. In the 1st year of the 5th week, Abram taught craftsmen how to make a device for the plough. It was a vessel fixed above the frame where the seed could be placed. As the ploughshare cut the earth, the seed fell down into the furrow and was hidden in the soil. The birds could no longer see it. From that time, men built these seed vessels on their ploughs according to Abram's command. They tilled the land without fear of ravens, and their fields brought forth abundantly. Chapter 12. Abram confronts idolatry, burns the idols, and receives his call from God. In the 6th week of that Jubilee, in its 7th year, Abram spoke to his father Terah. "Father," he said. "Here I am, my son," Terah replied. Abram asked him, "What good do these idols bring you, the ones you worship and bow down to? They have no spirit in them. They are nothing but lifeless forms, a deception of the heart. Do not worship them. Worship instead the God of heaven, the one who sends rain and dew upon the earth, the one who created everything by his word, for all life comes from his presence. Why worship things that have no spirit, things made by men's hands, carried on men's shoulders, yet giving no help? They bring shame to those who make them, and they deceive the hearts of those who bow before them. Worship them not." Terah answered, "I know this also, my son. But what can I do among a people who force me to serve their gods? If I speak the truth, they will kill me, for their hearts cling to these idols. Keep silent, my son, lest they kill you as well." Abram also spoke these words to his brothers, but they were angry with him. So he held his peace. In the 40th Jubilee, in the 2nd week, Abram took Sarai, the daughter of his father, to be his wife. Haran his brother also took a wife, and she bore him a son named Lot. Nahor too took a wife. When Abram was 60 years old, he rose by night and burned down the house of idols. The fire consumed everything inside, and no one knew who had done it. Men rushed to save their gods from the flames. Haran tried to rescue them, but the fire engulfed him, and he died there in Ur of the Chaldees before the eyes of his father Terah. Afterward Terah took his sons and departed from Ur of the Chaldees, journeying toward the land of Lebanon and the land of Canaan. They stopped in Haran, and Abram remained there with his father for 14 years. One night in the new moon of the 7th month, Abram sat awake to observe the stars. He wanted to know what kind of year it would be, whether rains would come. But as he watched, a word stirred in his heart. All these signs, the stars, the moon, the sun, they are all in the hand of the Lord. Why should I search them out? If he desires, he sends rain morning and evening. If he desires, he withholds it. All things are in his hand. That night Abram prayed, "My God Most High, you alone are my God. I have chosen you and your dominion. You created all things, and all the works of the world are from your hands. Deliver me from evil spirits who rule over the hearts of men. Do not let them lead me astray from you. Establish me and my seed forever, so that we may not fall into error." Abram wondered, "Shall I return to Ur of the Chaldees, to those who seek my life, or shall I remain here? Guide me, O Lord, in the right path, so I may not walk in the deceit of my heart." Then the word of the Lord came to him, saying, "Arise, leave your country, your kindred, and your father's house. Go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great and numerous nation. I will bless you and make your name great. In you all the families of the earth will be blessed. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. I will be a God to you, to your sons, and to your sons' sons, to all your seed forever. Fear not, for I am your God from this time on and to all generations." The Lord said, "Open his mouth and his ears, that he may speak and hear the language that was from the beginning. For since the Tower of Babel the holy tongue had ceased from the children of men." Then the messenger of God opened Abram's mouth and ears, and he spoke in Hebrew, the language of creation. Abram took the ancient books of his fathers, written in Hebrew, and copied them. With the help of the angel he studied them through the rainy season, learning what had been hidden from him. In the 7th year of that week Abram told his father that he would go to see the land of Canaan. Terah blessed him, saying, "Go in peace. May the eternal God guide your path. protect you from all evil, and give you favor. If you find a land pleasing to your eyes, dwell there. Take me with you when you are able, and take Lot, the son of your brother Haran, as your own son. Leave Nahor with me until your return. Then we will all come with you together. Chapter 13. Abram in Canaan and Egypt, and his separation from Lot. Abram departed from Haran with Sarai his wife and Lot, the son of his brother Haran, and entered the land of Canaan. He passed through Asher and came to Shechem, where he dwelt near a lofty oak. The land was beautiful from the entrance of Hamath to that oak. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To you and to your seed I will give this land." Abram built an altar there and offered a burnt sacrifice to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he moved to the mountain between Bethel to the west and Ai to the east, where he pitched his tent. He saw that the land was wide and fruitful, filled with vineyards, figs, pomegranates, oaks, terebinths, olive trees, cedars, cypresses, and date palms, with water flowing on the mountains. Abram blessed the Lord who had brought him out of Ur of the Chaldees into this good land. In the 1st year of the 7th week, on the new moon of the 1st month, Abram built an altar on that mountain and called on the eternal God, saying, "You are my God." He offered a burnt sacrifice, praying that God would be with him all the days of his life. Then Abram journeyed southward and came to Hebron, which was newly built in those days. He dwelt there for 2 years, then moved further south to Bealoth. At that time a famine struck the land. In the 3rd year of that week, Abram went down into Egypt, where he dwelt for 5 years. Pharaoh seized Sarai, Abram's wife, but the Lord struck Pharaoh and his house with plagues until he released her. Pharaoh returned Sarai to Abram and sent him away. Abram came back into Canaan to the place where he had pitched his tent before, near the altar between Bethel and Ai. There he blessed the Lord, who had brought him back in peace. In the 41st Jubilee, in the 3rd year of the 1st week, Abram returned to that place, offered a burnt sacrifice, and declared, "You, O Most High God, are my God forever." In the 4th year of that week, Lot parted from Abram and settled in Sodom, whose men were exceedingly wicked. Abram was grieved that his brother's son had left him, for he had no children of his own. That same year, when Lot was taken captive, the Lord spoke to Abram, "Lift up your eyes and look north, south, east, and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and to your seed forever. I will make your seed like the sand of the sea, beyond number. Arise, walk through the length and breadth of the land, for to your seed I give it." Abram went to Hebron and dwelt there. In that year Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Selasar, and Turgal, king of nations, fought against Sodom. They slew the king of Gomorrah, and many fell in the valley of Siddim by the salt sea. They carried away captives from Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, including Lot and all his possessions. One who escaped came and told Abram. Abram armed the servants of his household and pursued the captors. He rescued Lot and recovered all that had been taken. From that day the Lord ordained for Abram and his descendants the law of the 10th, a tenth of all the firstfruits to the Lord. This would be given forever to the priests who serve before him, that they may eat and rejoice in his presence. The king of Sodom came to Abram and said, "My lord Abram, give us back the people you rescued, but take the goods for yourself." But Abram said, "I have lifted my hand to the Most High God. From a thread to a sandal strap, I will take nothing that is yours, lest you say, 'I have made Abram rich.' Only what the young men have eaten, and the share of Anna, Eshcol, and Mamre, who went with me, shall they take." Chapter 14. God's covenant with Abram. After these things, in the 4th year of that week, on the new moon of the 3rd month, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a dream. The Lord said, "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your defender, and your reward will be very great." Abram answered, "Lord, what will you give me, since I remain childless? The steward of my house is Eliezer of Damascus, the son of my servant. He will be my heir, since you have not given me a child." But the Lord said, "This man will not be your heir. A son who comes from your own body will be your heir." Then he brought Abram outside and said, "Look toward heaven and count the stars, if you are able to number them. That is how many your descendants will be." Abram believed the Lord, and it was counted to him as righteousness. The Lord said, "I am the one who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you the land of Canaan to possess forever. I will be God to you and to your descendants after you." Abram asked, "Lord, how will I know that I will inherit it?" The Lord replied, "Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a pigeon." Abram brought all these in the middle of the month, while living at the oak of Mamre near Hebron. He built an altar there, sacrificed the animals, poured out their blood on the altar, and divided the pieces, setting them opposite each other. But he did not divide the birds. Birds of prey came down upon the pieces, but Abram drove them away and would not let them touch the sacrifice. As the sun was setting, Abram fell into a deep sleep, and a heavy, dreadful darkness came over him. Then the Lord said to him, "Know for certain that your descendants will be strangers in a land not their own. They will be enslaved and oppressed for 400 years. But I will judge the nation that enslaves them, and afterward they will come out with great possessions. You, Abram, will go to your fathers in peace and be buried in a good old age. In the 4th generation your descendants will return here, for the sin of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure." When Abram awoke, the sun had set, and he saw a smoking furnace with a flame of fire passing between the pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, "To your descendants I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Perizzites, Rephaim, Hivites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites." The day passed, and Abram completed the offerings of the animals, the birds, along with fruit and drink offerings, and fire consumed them. On that day the covenant was confirmed with Abram, just as God had covenanted with Noah in that same month. Abram established the festival and ordinance for himself forever. Abram rejoiced and told his wife Sarai what had happened. He believed that he would have children, but still Sarai bore him none. Sarai then advised her husband, saying, "Go into Hagar, my Egyptian maid. Perhaps I can build a family through her." Abram listened to Sarai. She took Hagar, her Egyptian maid, and gave her to Abram as a wife. Abram went in to her, and she conceived and bore him a son. Abram named him Ishmael. This happened in the 5th year of that week, when Abram was 86 years old. Chapter 15. The Feast of First Fruits, Circumcision, and the Promise of Isaac. In the 5th year of the 4th week, during the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, Abram celebrated the Feast of First Fruits of the grain harvest. He offered new gifts on the altar, the first produce of the season, along with a heifer, a goat, and a ram as burnt offerings to the Lord. He placed fruit offerings and drink offerings on the altar with frankincense. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "I am God Almighty. Walk before me and be blameless. I will make my covenant with you and multiply you greatly." Abram fell on his face, and God continued, "My covenant is with you. You will be the father of many nations. Your name will no longer be Abram, but Abraham, for I have made you the father of many nations. I will make you very great. Nations will come from you, and kings will rise from your line. I will establish my covenant between me and you, and with your descendants after you for all generations. It will be an everlasting covenant. I will be your God, and the God of your descendants. I will give to you and your descendants the land of Canaan, where you will be living as a foreigner, as an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. Then the Lord said to Abraham, As for you, keep my covenant, you and your descendants after you. Every male among you must be circumcised. This will be the sign of the covenant between me and you. Every male on the 8th day after birth must be circumcised, whether born in your household or bought with money from a foreigner. My covenant will be marked in your flesh as an everlasting covenant. The uncircumcised male who is not circumcised on the 8th day will be cut off from his people, for he has broken my covenant. God also said, As for your wife Sarai, her name will no longer be Sarai, but Sarah. I will bless her, and she will bear you a son. I will bless him, and he will become a nation, and kings will come from him. Abraham fell on his face and laughed with joy. He said in his heart, Can a child be born to a man who is 100 years old? Can Sarah, 90 years old, bear a child? Then Abraham said to God, If only Ishmael might live before you. But God said, Yes, I have heard you regarding Ishmael, and I will bless him, make him fruitful, and multiply him greatly. He will father 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you at this time next year. When God finished speaking, he went up from Abraham. Abraham obeyed, taking his son Ishmael, all those born in his house, and all those he had bought, every male among them, and circumcised them that very day. Abraham himself was circumcised, along with Ishmael and every male in his household, whether born there or bought from foreigners. This command is for all generations forever. Circumcision must not be delayed or omitted beyond the 8th day. Anyone not circumcised on the 8th day does not belong to the children of the covenant that the Lord made with Abraham. They belong instead to destruction, with no mark showing that they are the Lord's. They will be destroyed and removed from the earth, for they have broken the covenant of the Lord. From the day they were created, all the angels of the presence and the angels of sanctification have been holy. In their presence, God sanctified Israel to be his people forever. Command the children of Israel to keep the sign of this covenant through all their generations, so they will not be rooted out of the land. This command is eternal, binding Israel to observe it forever. But Ishmael, his sons, his brothers, and Esau were not chosen, though they too are children of Abraham. God knew them but did not choose them. He chose Israel to be his people, holy and set apart from all nations. Many nations exist, and God rules over them all, appointing spirits to guide them. But over Israel he placed no angel or spirit, for he himself is their ruler. He will preserve them, bless them, and make them his own forever. Yet I tell you now, the children of Israel will not remain faithful to this command. They will fail to circumcise their sons according to this law. Many, under the influence of Belial, will leave their sons uncircumcised. Because of this, great wrath will fall upon Israel. They will abandon the covenant, provoke the Lord, and treat their bodies as the Gentiles do. They will be removed from the land and face destruction with no forgiveness for the sin of this eternal error. Chapter 16. Abraham at Beersheba, the birth of Isaac, and the Feast of Tabernacles. On the new moon of the 4th month, the angels of God appeared to Abraham at the oak of Mamre. They spoke with him, and told him that Sarah his wife would bear a son. Sarah heard this and laughed. But when she was questioned, she became afraid and denied it. Yet the angels told her the child's name was already written on the heavenly tablets. His name would be Isaac, and at the appointed time she would conceive. In that same month the Lord brought judgment on Sodom, Gomorrah, Zeboim, and the whole region of the Jordan. He burned them with fire and brimstone, destroying them completely because they had filled the land with wickedness, fornication, and uncleanness. And just as judgment fell on them, so it will be on every place that follows their ways. But God remembered Abraham and spared Lot, bringing him out of the destruction. Yet Lot and his daughters fell into sin, for his daughters lay with their father, and from them came children who were marked for judgment. It was written on the heavenly tablets that their seed would one day be rooted out and cut off like Sodom. During this time Abraham moved from Hebron and lived between Kadesh and Shur in the mountains of Gerar. Later he moved again and settled at Beersheba, the well of the oath. In the middle of the 6th month the Lord visited Sarah and fulfilled his promise. She conceived, and in the 3rd month, at the very time God had spoken, she gave birth to a son. On the feast of first fruits Isaac was born. Abraham circumcised him on the 8th day, the first child to be circumcised according to the covenant ordained forever. In the 6th year of that week, the angels returned to Abraham at Beersheba. They blessed him and told him that he would live to see 6 more sons, though only Isaac would carry the holy seed. The rest of his descendants would become nations counted among the Gentiles, but through Isaac would come a chosen people, the portion of the Most High, a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Abraham and Sarah rejoiced greatly. Abraham built an altar at Beersheba and celebrated a festival of joy for 7 days. He built booths for himself and his household, becoming the first to keep the Feast of Tabernacles on the earth. Each day he brought offerings, 2 oxen, 2 rams, 7 sheep, and a goat for atonement, along with thank offerings of rams, kids, sheep, and goats with fruit and drink offerings. The fat he burned on the altar as a sweet-smelling aroma to the Lord. Morning and evening he burned fragrant spices, frankincense, galbanum, stacte, nard, myrrh, and costus, 7 kinds crushed and blended together in equal parts. He and his whole household rejoiced with all their heart and soul. No stranger or uncircumcised person was with them. Abraham blessed his Creator, who had made him in his generation, knowing that from his seed would come the plant of righteousness for eternal generations, a holy seed belonging to the Lord. He named the festival of the Lord, a joy acceptable to the Most High. The angels blessed Abraham and his descendants forever, because he had kept the feast in its appointed season. And for this reason it was written on the heavenly tablets that Israel should celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles in the 7th month, rejoicing for 7 days before the Lord, a law forever without end. And Abraham took palm branches and the fruit of good trees, circling the altar 7 times each morning, praising and giving thanks to God with joy. Jubilees 17, the expulsion of Hagar and Ishmael, and the testing of Abraham. In the 1st year of the 5th week, when Isaac was weaned, Abraham held a great banquet in the 3rd month on the day his son was weaned. Ishmael, the son of Hagar the Egyptian, was there with Abraham, and Abraham rejoiced, blessing God because he had sons and was not left childless. He remembered the promise God gave him on the day Lot parted from him, and he praised the Creator of all things with his whole heart. But Sarah saw Ishmael playing and dancing while Abraham rejoiced, and jealousy rose within her. She said to Abraham, "Cast out this servant woman and her son, for he will not share in the inheritance with my son Isaac." The words grieved Abraham deeply, for Ishmael was his son, and Hagar had been with him many years. But God spoke to Abraham, saying, "Do not be distressed about the boy or about your servant. Do whatever Sarah tells you, for it is through Isaac that your descendants will be named. But as for the son of your servant, I will make him into a great nation, because he too is your seed." So Abraham rose early in the morning, took bread and a skin of water, and gave them to Hagar, placing them on her shoulder along with the boy, and sent them away. Hagar wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water was gone, the child grew weak with thirst and fell down. His mother placed him under the shade of an olive tree, then sat down at a distance, the length of a bowshot, and said, "Let me not see the death of my child." She lifted up her voice and wept. Then an angel of God called to her, "Why do you weep, Hagar? Arise, take the child and hold him, for God has heard your voice and has seen the boy." She lifted her eyes and saw a well of water. She filled the skin and gave her son to drink. They went on into the wilderness of Paran, and the boy grew strong, becoming an archer. God was with him, and his mother found him a wife from Egypt. She bore him a son, and he named him Nebaioth, saying, "The Lord was near to me when I called upon him." In the 7th week, in its first year, voices in heaven declared about Abraham, that he was faithful in all things, that he loved the Lord, and that he had stood firm in every trial. But the prince Mastema came before God and said, "Abraham loves Isaac his son, and delights in him above all else. Command him to offer Isaac as a burnt offering, and you will see if he obeys, and whether he is faithful in all things." The Lord knew Abraham's heart, for he had already tested him many times, through leaving his country, through famine, through the wealth of kings, through the loss of Sarah when she was taken from him, through the covenant of circumcision, and through the sorrow of sending away Ishmael and Hagar. In every trial, Abraham had been found faithful. His soul was not impatient, and he was not slow to obey, for he loved the Lord with all his heart. Chapter 18. The Sacrifice of Isaac. And God called to him, "Abraham, Abraham." "Here I am," Abraham answered. And God said, "Take your beloved son Isaac, whom you love, and go into the high country and offer him on one of the mountains that I will show you." So Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey. He took 2 of his young men with him and Isaac his son. He split the wood for the burnt offering and went to the place on the 3rd day. He saw the place from far away. He came to a well of water and said to his young men, "Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there, and after we have worshipped we will come back to you." He took the wood for the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. He took in his hand the fire and the knife, and the 2 of them went on together. Isaac said to his father, "Father," and he said, "Here I am, my son." Isaac said, "Here are the fire, the knife, and the wood. But where is the sheep for the burnt offering, father?" Abraham said, "God will provide for himself a sheep for the burnt offering, my son." So they went on together to the place of God's mountain. He built an altar there and placed the wood on it. He bound Isaac his son and laid him on the wood upon the altar. He stretched out his hand to take the knife to kill his son. But I stood before him and before the prince of Mastema. And the Lord said, "Do not let him lay his hand on the boy, nor do anything to him, for I have shown that he fears the Lord." God called to Abraham from heaven and said to him, "Abraham, Abraham." Abraham was terrified and said, "Here I am." God said to him, "Do not lay your hand on the boy, or do anything to him. Now I have shown that you fear the Lord and have not withheld your son, your firstborn, from me." The prince of Mastema was put to shame. Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and there was a ram caught by its horns. Abraham went, took the ram, and offered it as a burnt offering instead of his son. Abraham called that place, "The Lord has seen," so it is said, "On the mountain the Lord has seen." That is Mount Zion. The Lord called Abraham by his name a second time from heaven, as he caused us to appear to speak to him in the name of the Lord. He said, "By myself I have sworn, says the Lord, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your beloved son from me. I will surely bless you, and I will greatly multiply your descendants like the stars of heaven and like the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will inherit the cities of their enemies, and through your seed all nations of the earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. I have shown to all that you are faithful to me in everything I commanded you. Go in peace." Abraham returned to his young men. They got up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham lived by the well of the oath. He celebrated this festival every year for 7 days with joy, and he called it the Festival of the Lord, in memory of the 7 days during which he went and returned in peace. And it was ordained and written on the heavenly tablets concerning Israel and its descendants that they should observe this festival for 7 days with the joy of a festival. Chapter 19. The Death and Burial of Sarah. In the first year of the first week in the 42nd Jubilee, Abraham returned and lived near Hebron, which is Kirjath Arba, for 2 weeks of years. In the first year of the third week of this Jubilee, the days of Sarah's life were completed, and she died in Hebron. Abraham went to mourn for her and to bury her, and we tested him to see if his spirit would remain patient, and if he would not complain with his mouth. He was found patient in this, and was not disturbed. In patience of spirit he spoke with the children of Heth, so that they would give him a place in which to bury his dead. The Lord gave him favour before all who saw him. He asked gently of the sons of Heth, and they gave him the land of the double cave near Mamre, which is Hebron, for 400 pieces of silver. They urged him, saying, "We will give it to you for nothing." But he would not take it without payment. He gave the price of the land in full and bowed down before them twice. After this he buried his dead in the double cave. All the days of Sarah's life were 127 years, which is 2 jubilees, 4 weeks, and 1 year. These are the days of the life of Sarah. This was the 10th trial with which Abraham was tested, and he was found faithful, patient in spirit. He did not speak a single word about the promise in the land, that God had said he would give it to him and to his descendants after him. Instead, he asked for a place to bury his dead. He was found faithful and was recorded on the heavenly tablets as the friend of God. In the 4th year he took a wife for his son Isaac, and her name was Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Nahor, Abraham's brother. She was the sister of Laban and the daughter of Bethuel, and Bethuel was the son of Milcah, who was the wife of Nahor, the brother of Abraham. Abraham also took a 3rd wife for himself. Her name was Keturah, from among the daughters of his household servants, for Hagar had died before Sarah. She bore him 6 sons, Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shuah, in 2 weeks of years. In the 6th week, in its 2nd year, Rebekah bore to Isaac 2 sons, Jacob and Esau. Jacob was a smooth and upright man, but Esau was fierce, a man of the field and hairy. Jacob lived in tents. The boys grew, and Jacob learned to write. But Esau did not learn, for he was a man of the field and a hunter. He learned war, and all his deeds were fierce. Abraham loved Jacob, but Isaac loved Esau. Abraham saw the deeds of Esau, and he knew that through Jacob his name and descendants would be called. He called Rebekah and gave command concerning Jacob, for he knew that she also loved Jacob much more than Esau. He said to her, "My daughter, watch over my son Jacob, for he will take my place on the earth, and will be a blessing among the children of men, and for the glory of the whole line of Shem, for I know the Lord will choose him to be his own people, above all the peoples on the face of the earth. And behold, my son Isaac loves Esau more than Jacob, but I see that you truly love Jacob. Add even more to your kindness toward him. Let your eyes be upon him in love, for he will be a blessing to us on the earth from now on, through all generations of the earth. Let your hands be strong, and let your heart rejoice in your son Jacob. For I have loved him more than all my sons. He will be blessed forever, and his descendants will fill the whole earth. If a man could number the sand of the earth, his seed also will be numbered. All the blessings with which the Lord has blessed me and my descendants will belong to Jacob and to his seed forever. In his seed my name will be blessed, and the name of my fathers, Shem, Noah, Enoch, Mahalalel, Enosh, Seth, and Adam. These will serve to lay the foundations of heaven, to strengthen the earth, and to renew all the lights in the sky." He called Jacob in the sight of Rebekah his mother, and kissed him, and blessed him, and said, "Jacob, my beloved son, whom my soul loves, may God bless you from above the heavens. May he give you all the blessings with which he blessed Adam, Enoch, Noah, and Shem. May all the things he told me and all that he promised to give me be joined to you and to your seed forever, as long as the heavens are above the earth. The spirits of Mastema will not rule over you or your seed, to turn you away from the Lord your God from now on and forever. May the Lord God be a father to you, and you the firstborn son, and to the people always. Go in peace, my son." And they both went out together from Abraham. Rebekah loved Jacob with all her heart and soul, much more than Esau, but Isaac loved Esau much more than Jacob. Chapter 20. Abraham's last words to his children and grandchildren. In the 42nd Jubilee, during the first year of the 7th week, Abraham gathered his family. He called for Ishmael and his 12 sons, for Isaac and his 2 sons, and for the 6 sons of Keturah with all their children. He stood before them and urged them to walk in the way of the Lord. He called them to practice righteousness, to love one another, and to deal justly with all people. He told them not to stray from the path the Lord had commanded, not turning to the right or to the left. They were to circumcise their sons in accordance with the covenant God had made. They were to keep themselves free from fornication and impurity, and to purge such things from among them. "If a woman or a maid commits fornication among you," Abraham said, "burn her with fire. Do not defile yourselves with her, no matter what your eyes or heart desire. And do not take wives from among the daughters of Canaan, for the seed of Canaan will be uprooted from the land." He reminded them of the judgment that fell on the giants and on the people of Sodom, how they were destroyed for their wickedness, for their fornication, their impurity, and their corruption. "Guard yourselves," Abraham said, "lest your name become a curse. Do not live in such a way that your lives become a warning. If you fall into sin, your sons will perish by the sword. Your people will be wiped out like Sodom, your remnant like Gomorrah. I beg you, my sons, love the God of heaven. Keep all his commandments. Do not follow idols. Do not be drawn into their ways or their uncleanness. Do not make for yourselves molten or carved images. They are nothing. There is no spirit in them. They are the work of men's hands, and those who trust in them trust in emptiness. Do not serve them. Do not worship them. Instead, serve the Most High God. Worship him always. Place your hope in his presence. Walk before him in righteousness and truth, that he may find joy in you and pour out his mercy. Then he will send rain upon your fields morning and evening. He will bless the work of your hands. He will bless your bread and your water. He will bless the fruit of your womb and the harvest of your land. Your cattle and sheep will flourish, and you will be a blessing upon the earth. All nations will desire you. They will bless your children in my name, that they may be blessed as I am. Abraham gave gifts to Ishmael and to his sons and to the sons of Keturah, but everything he owned he gave to Isaac. Afterward Ishmael and his sons and the sons of Keturah with their families departed together. They settled from the wilderness of Paran to the entrance of Babylon, across the lands that faced the desert. These families mixed with one another, and from them came the people who would be called the Arabs, the Ishmaelites. Chapter 21. Abraham's last words to Isaac. In the 6th year of the 7th week of that Jubilee, Abraham called for his son Isaac. He said, I have grown old, and I do not know the day of my death. My years are full, and I am now 175. Throughout all the days of my life I have remembered the Lord. I have sought with all my heart to do his will, to walk uprightly in his ways. My soul has hated idols, and I have despised those who serve them. I gave my heart and spirit fully to the one who created me. For he is the living God. He is holy and faithful. He is righteous beyond all, and he shows no partiality, nor does he accept bribes. God is just. He judges all who break his commandments and dishonor his covenant. So, my son, keep his commandments, follow his ordinances and his judgments. Do not walk after abominations or serve idols or molten images. Do not eat blood from any animal, cattle or bird. And if you offer a peace sacrifice, pour out the blood upon the altar. Burn all the fat of the offering on the altar, along with fine flour mixed with oil and the drink offering. Offer it all together as a sweet aroma before the Lord. Place the fat of the thank offering on the fire of the altar. The fat from the belly, the inwards, the kidneys, the loins, and the liver, all of it together, just as it was commanded. Bring the meat offering and drink offering with it, and offer them as bread before the Lord, a pleasing gift. Eat the meat on the day it is sacrificed, and on the 2nd day, but let none of it remain into the 3rd. Before the sun sets on the 2nd day, it must be finished. Whatever remains on the 3rd day is not acceptable, and whoever eats it will bear guilt. This is what I found written in the scrolls of my forefathers, and in the words of Enoch and Noah. Every offering must be sprinkled with salt. Never let the salt of the covenant be missing from your sacrifices. As for the wood you place on the altar, use only those which are commanded: cypress, diphran, sagad, pine, fir, cedar, savin, palm, olive, myrrh, laurel, citron, juniper, and balsam. Choose wood that is sound and without defect. Use only clean, fresh growth. Do not bring split or dark wood, and do not use anything old, for its fragrance is gone and no longer rises to heaven. Beyond these kinds, no other wood should be used, for the others carry no scent that reaches God. Keep this commandment, my son, and walk uprightly in all you do. Remain clean at all times. Wash yourself before you offer anything at the altar. Wash your hands and your feet before you draw near, and wash them again when the sacrifice is finished. Be careful that no blood remains on your body or on your garments. Be on guard against blood. Cover it with dust immediately. Never eat blood, for the blood is the life. Do not eat any of it, and do not accept any gift or bribe for the blood of a man. Let no one shed blood without judgment, for when innocent blood is spilled, the earth itself is stained. It cannot be cleansed except by the blood of the one who shed it. Take no present in exchange for blood. Blood for blood, that is the way to remain righteous before the Lord, the Most High God. He defends the good, he preserves the just. He will save you from every form of death. But I have seen, my son, that the works of men are full of sin and wickedness, their actions are impure, their deeds are an abomination, there is no righteousness in them. Beware! Do not walk in their ways, do not follow their paths, or you will commit a sin that leads to death before the Most High God. If you turn, he will hide his face from you. He will hand you over to your guilt. He will uproot you from the land and your descendants with you. Your name and your legacy will vanish from the earth. So turn away from all their ways. Do not touch their uncleanness. Keep the ordinances of the Most High. Do his will. Be upright in everything. Then he will bless you in all that you do. He will raise up from your line a plant of righteousness, one who will be known across the earth through all generations, and the names of both you and me will not be forgotten under heaven. Go now, my son, in peace. May the Most High God, my God and your God, give you strength to do his will. May he bless your children and your children's children with every righteous blessing for all generations to come. May you be a blessing upon the earth. And he went out from him rejoicing. Chapter 22. Abraham's Prayer. It came to pass in the 6th week of the 42nd Jubilee in the 2nd year, the year Abraham died, that Isaac and Ishmael came from the well of the oath to celebrate the Feast of Weeks with their father, the Feast of First Fruits. Abraham rejoiced when he saw his 2 sons return. Isaac had many possessions in Beersheba and often travelled to check on them and return. Ishmael came to visit, and the 2 brothers arrived together. Isaac offered a burnt offering on Abraham's altar in Hebron. He also brought a thank offering and made a joyful feast for his brother Ishmael. Rebekah baked new cakes from the fresh grain and gave them to Jacob, who took them to his grandfather Abraham from the first fruits of the land, so he could eat and bless the Creator before he died. Isaac also sent a special thank offering by Jacob's hand. Abraham ate and drank and blessed the Most High God, who created heaven and earth, who made all the rich foods of the earth and gave them to the children of men, that they might eat and drink and bless their Creator. Then Abraham prayed and said, I give thanks to you, my God, for allowing me to see this day. I am 175 years old, an old man full of days. The sword of the enemy has not overcome me. You have preserved me and my children in all that you have given. Let your mercy and peace be upon me, and upon the seed of my sons, that they may be to you a chosen nation, an inheritance among all the peoples of the earth from this day forward and for all generations. Then he called for Jacob, and he said, My son Jacob, may the God of all bless you and strengthen you to do righteousness. May he choose you and your seed to be a people for his inheritance according to his will. Come near and kiss me. Jacob drew near and kissed him. Abraham said to him, Blessed be my son Jacob and all the sons of God Most High forever. May God give you a seed of righteousness. Some of your sons will be sanctified in the midst of the whole earth. Nations will serve you, and all people will bow before your seed. Be strong before men. Walk with authority over the seed of Seth. Your ways and your sons' ways will be justified, and you will become a holy nation. May the Most High give you all the blessings he gave to me, to Noah, and to Adam. Let them rest on the sacred head of your seed from generation to generation. May he cleanse you from all unrighteousness and impurity. May you be forgiven your transgressions, even the ones you didn't know you committed. May he strengthen you and bless you. May you inherit the whole earth. May he renew his covenant with you, so that you will be his people forever, and he will be your God in truth and righteousness for all time. Then he said, "Remember my words, my son. Follow the commandments of your father Abraham. Stay separate from the nations. Do not eat with them or imitate their ways. Do not become their associate, for their works are unclean, and all their ways are polluted and abominable. They offer sacrifices to the dead. They worship evil spirits. They eat beside graves. Their works are vain and empty. They have no understanding. Their eyes are blind to their own errors. They say to wood, 'You are my God,' and to stone, 'You are my Lord and deliverer.' But as for you, my son Jacob, may the Most High God help you. May the God of heaven bless you and protect you from their uncleanness and error. Be careful not to take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. That seed will be rooted out of the earth. Because of Ham's transgression, Canaan went astray, and all his seed will be destroyed. None of them will be saved on the day of judgment." Chapter 23. Abraham's death and the prophecy for the future generations. Abraham placed Jacob's 2 fingers upon his eyes and blessed the God of gods. Then he covered his face, stretched out his feet, and fell into the sleep of eternity. He was gathered to his fathers. Jacob was still lying against his grandfather's chest and did not realize that Abraham had passed. When he awoke and found him cold as ice, he called out, "Father, Father!" But there was no answer, and he knew that he was gone. He rose and ran to tell Rebekah, who went in the night to Isaac. Together they returned, Jacob holding a lamp in his hand. When they entered the room, they found Abraham lying still. Isaac fell upon his father's face, weeping, and kissed him. The sound of mourning filled the house. Ishmael arose and came to weep over his father, and the entire household joined in a great sorrow. Then Isaac and Ishmael buried their father in the double cave beside Sarah. They wept for 40 days. All the men of Abraham's house, the sons of Isaac, the sons of Ishmael, and the sons of Keturah from their distant dwellings came to mourn. When the days of weeping were over, peace settled upon the house. Abraham lived 3 jubilees and 4 weeks of years, 175 in all. He completed his days in full measure, old and content. The generations before him lived 19 jubilees, but after the flood, lifespans began to shorten. People aged quickly and were filled with sorrow, worn down by tribulation and the corruption of their ways. Abraham was the exception. He remained righteous in all his deeds, walking faithfully with the Lord all his life. Even so, he did not reach 4 full jubilees. The wickedness of the world weighed heavy on him, and he grew old before his time. All generations after him, from that day until the time of the great judgment, will age rapidly. Their knowledge will fade, their wisdom will slip away before they complete even 2 jubilees. In those days, if a man lives a jubilee and a half, they will say he has lived long. But most of his days will be sorrow, pain, and hardship with no peace. Disaster will follow disaster, wounds will pile on wounds, sickness after sickness, judgment after judgment, calamities of every kind, frost, fire, famine, fever, captivity, death, each pain arriving before the last one ends. This will come upon an evil generation, one that rebels across the earth. Their works will be stained with fornication, impurity, and abomination. Then they will say, "The days of the forefathers were long and good, even unto 1,000 years. But now, if a man lives 70 years, or 80 if he is strong, those years are filled with trouble and no peace. In that time sons will rise up and expose the sins of their fathers and elders. They will testify against the wickedness of their speech, their lawlessness, and the way they abandoned the covenant of the Lord. They will recall how they turned from his commandments, refused his ordinances, and walked away from his laws. For all have done evil, every mouth speaks corruption. All their deeds are defiled. Their ways are polluted and filled with destruction. Because of them the earth itself will be ruined. There will be no grapes for the vine, no oil from the press. The animals, birds, and sea creatures will perish along with mankind. Their works are without faith, and all will fall together. Strife will spread across every line. The young will rise against the old, the poor against the rich, the lowly against the great, the beggar against the prince. They will fight over the law and the covenant, though they have forgotten every word of it. The feasts, the Sabbaths, the months, the Jubilees, and the judgments will all be forgotten. Some will rise with swords and seek to turn the people back to the truth, but they will not return, not until much blood has been spilled across the land. Even those who escape destruction will not return to righteousness. They will pursue deceit and greed. Each will steal from his neighbor. They will speak the great name, but not in truth. They will defile the holy place with their uncleanness and the corruption of their ways. Then judgment will fall from the Lord. He will give them over to war, to captivity, to being plundered and consumed. He will stir up the sinners from the nations, a people without mercy or compassion. They will show no regard for age or status. Their cruelty will exceed all others. They will pour violence upon Israel and rebellion upon Jacob. Blood will soak the earth. No one will remain to bury the dead. In those days the people will cry out, calling and praying to be delivered from the hands of the nations, but none will be saved. The heads of children will turn white with sorrow. A child only 3 weeks old will appear as aged as a man of 100. Their bodies will shrink under tribulation and grief. But in the midst of that darkness, something new will begin. The children will turn back. They will begin to study the law, to seek the commandments, and to return to the path of righteousness, and the days of their lives will begin to increase. Their years will draw near to 1,000 again, surpassing the length of generations before them. There will be no one who grows old without fulfillment. All will live as children and as youth. Their days will be filled with peace and with joy. Satan will be no more. The destroyer will be gone. Every day will be filled with blessing and with healing. Then the Lord will restore his servants. They will rise and see great peace. They will drive out their enemies. The righteous will witness it and give thanks. Their joy will last forever. They will see justice fall upon their enemies. Every curse will return upon those who deserved it. Their bones will rest in the earth. Their spirits will rejoice. And they will know that it is the Lord who brings justice and shows mercy to the thousands who love him. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write these words, for they are already written and recorded on the heavenly tablets. They are a testimony for all generations to come." Chapter 24. Isaac at the well of vision, and Esau selling his birthright. And it came to pass, after the death of Abraham, that the Lord blessed Isaac his son. Isaac arose from Hebron and went to dwell at the well of the vision. In the 1st year of the 4th week a famine began in the land, besides the famine that had been in the days of Abraham. And Jacob boiled lentil pottage, and Esau came in from the field hungry. "Give me some of this red pottage," Esau said to Jacob. "Sell me your birthright, and I will give you bread and also this lentil pottage," Jacob said. Esau thought, "I shall die. Of what profit to me is this birthright?" "I give it to you," Esau said. "Swear to me this day," Jacob said. And Esau swore to him. The firstborn rights were Jacob's. Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage, and he ate until he was satisfied, and Esau despised his birthright. For this reason Esau's name was called Edom, on account of the red pottage for which he sold his birthright. So Jacob became the elder, and Esau was stripped of the respect and status he once held. The famine was severe in the land, and Isaac departed to go into Egypt. On the way he turned aside to the king of the Philistines at Gerar, unto Abimelech. The Lord appeared to him and said, "Do not go down into Egypt. Live in the land I show you. Stay here for a while, and I will be with you and bless you. To you and to your seed I will give all this land, and I will establish the oath I swore to Abraham your father. I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and in your seed all nations of the earth will be blessed, because your father obeyed my voice, kept my charge, my commandments, my laws, my ordinances, and my covenant. Now obey my voice and dwell in this land." And Isaac dwelt in Gerar 21 years. Abimelech gave command concerning him and all that he had, saying, "Any man that touches him or anything that is his shall surely die." Isaac grew strong among the Philistines, and acquired many possessions, oxen, sheep, camels, asses, and a great household. He sowed in the land of the Philistines, and reaped 100-fold, and he became exceedingly great. The Philistines envied him. All the wells which Abraham's servants had dug during his lifetime the Philistines stopped after his death, and filled them with earth. "Go from us, for you are mightier than we," Abimelech said to Isaac. So Isaac departed in the 1st year of the 7th week, and sojourned in the valleys of Gerar. He reopened the wells which Abraham's servants had dug, and which the Philistines had stopped. He called them by the names his father had given them. Isaac's servants dug a new well in the valley and found living water. The shepherds of Gerar quarrelled with Isaac's shepherds, saying, "The water is ours." Isaac called the well Perversity, because they had opposed and mistreated him. They dug a second well, and they strove for that also, and he called its name Enmity. Then they dug another well, and for that they did not strive, and he called its name Room, saying, "Now the Lord has made room for us, and we have increased in the land." From there he went up to the well of the oath. The Lord appeared to him that night on the new moon of the 1st month, and said, "I am the God of Abraham your father. Fear not, for I am with you. I will bless you, and multiply your seed as the sand of the earth for the sake of Abraham my servant." Isaac built an altar there, which Abraham had first built, and he called upon the name of the Lord. He offered sacrifice to the God of Abraham his father. His servants dug a well there, and found living water. Later they dug another well, but did not find water. When they told Isaac, he said, "I have sworn this day to the Philistines, and this has been made known to us." So he called the name of that place the Well of the Oath, for there he had sworn to Abimelech, to Ahuzath his friend, and to Phicol the commander of his army. Isaac knew that day that under constraint he had sworn to them to make peace. On that day he cursed the Philistines, saying, "Cursed be the Philistines unto the day of wrath and indignation from among the nations. May God make them a laughingstock and a curse, an object of wrath and indignation in the hands of sinners among the Gentiles, and in the hands of foreign powers. Whoever escapes the sword of the enemy and the local hostile forces, may the righteous nation root out in judgment from under heaven, for they will be enemies and foes to my children throughout their generations upon the earth. No survivors will be left to them, nor one saved on the day of wrath and judgment. For destruction, rooting out, and expulsion from the earth is reserved for the whole seed of the Philistines. No name or seed will remain of the Caphtorim tribe upon the earth. For though the Philistines ascend to heaven, from there the Philistines will be brought down. Though the Philistines make himself strong on the earth, from there the Philistines will be dragged forth. Though the Philistines hide among the nations, from there the Philistines will be rooted out. Though the Philistines descend into the remnant of the dead, there the Philistines' condemnation will be great. and there the Philistines will have no peace. If the Philistines go into captivity by the hands of those that seek Philistinian life, the Philistines will be slain on the way. Neither name nor seed will be left to the Philistines upon the earth, for into eternal curse the Philistines will depart. Thus it is written and engraved concerning him on the heavenly tablets, to do this unto the Philistines on the day of judgment, so that the Philistines may be rooted out of the earth. Chapter 25. Rebekah admonishes Jacob not to marry a Canaanitish woman, Rebekah's blessing. And in the 2nd year of this week in this Jubilee, Rebekah called Jacob her son, and said to him, My son, do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan, as Esau your brother has done. He has taken 2 wives of the daughters of Canaan, and they have embittered my soul with their unclean deeds. All their deeds are fornication and lust, and there is no righteousness in them, for their ways are evil. And I, my son, love you exceedingly. My heart and my affection bless you every hour of the day and watch of the night. Now hearken to my voice and do the will of your mother. Do not take a wife from the daughters of this land, but only from the house of my father and my kindred. Take a wife from the house of my father, and the Most High God will bless you, and your children will be a righteous generation, a holy seed. Jacob said, Look, mother, I am 63 years old, and I have neither known nor touched a woman. I have not betrothed myself to any, nor have I even thought of taking a wife from the daughters of Canaan. For I remember, mother, the words of Abraham our father, for he commanded me not to take a wife from the daughters of Canaan, but from the seed of my father's house and my kindred. I have heard that daughters have been born to Laban your brother, and I have set my heart on them, to take a wife from among them. For this reason I have guarded myself in spirit against sinning or being corrupted in my ways all the days of my life. Concerning lust and fornication, Abraham my father gave me many commands. Despite all he commanded me, these 22 years my brother has striven with me, urging me, saying, My brother, take to wife a sister of my 2 wives. But I refuse to do as he has done. I swear before you, mother, that all the days of my life I will not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan, nor act wickedly as my brother has done. Fear not, mother. Be assured that I shall do your will and walk in uprightness, not corrupting my ways forever. Then she lifted her face to heaven, stretched out her hands, opened her mouth, and blessed the Most High God who created the heaven and the earth. She gave him thanks and praise, saying, Blessed be the Lord God, and may his holy name be blessed forever, who has given me Jacob as a pure son and holy seed. For he is yours, and yours shall his seed be continually throughout all generations. Bless him, O Lord, and place in my mouth the blessing of righteousness, that I may bless him. At that hour, when the Spirit of righteousness descended into her mouth, she placed both her hands on the head of Jacob, and said, Blessed art thou, Lord of righteousness, and God of the ages. May he bless you beyond all generations of men. May he give you the path of righteousness, and reveal righteousness to your seed. May he make your sons many during your life, and may they arise according to the number of the months of the year. May they become great beyond the stars of heaven, their numbers more than the sand of the sea. May he give them this goodly land, as he promised Abraham and his seed forever, and may they hold it as a possession for all time. May I see blessed children born to you in my lifetime, and may all your seed be blessed and holy. As you have refreshed your mother's spirit during my life, the womb that bore you blesses you. My affection and my breasts bless you. My mouth and my tongue praise you greatly. Increase and spread over the earth. May your seed be perfect in the joy of heaven and earth forever. May your seed rejoice, and on the great day of peace may it have peace. May your name and your seed endure through all ages, and may the Most High God be their God. May the God of righteousness dwell with them, and by them may his sanctuary be built for all ages. Blessed be he that blesses you, and all flesh that curses you falsely, may it be cursed. Then she kissed him and said, May the Lord of the world love you, as the heart of your mother rejoices in you, and blesses you. And she ceased from blessing. Chapter 26. Jacob obtains the blessing of the firstborn. In the 7th year of that week, Isaac called Esau, his older son, and said to him, I am old, my son, my eyesight is failing, and I don't know how much longer I'll live. Now take your hunting gear, your quiver and your bow, and go out into the field to hunt some game for me. Prepare a meal just the way I love it, and bring it to me so I can eat and bless you before I die. But Rebekah heard Isaac speaking to Esau. Esau went out early into the field to hunt and bring food back for his father. Rebekah called Jacob and said, I heard your father talking to Esau, your brother. He said, Hunt for me, make me a meal and bring it to me, so I can eat and bless you before the Lord before I die. Now, my son, listen to what I'm telling you. Go to the flock and bring me 2 good young goats, and I'll make a meal for your father just the way he loves it. Then you'll take it to him so he can eat and bless you before he dies, and so that you may be blessed. Jacob said to Rebekah, Mother, I won't withhold anything that would please my father, but I'm afraid he'll recognize my voice and want to touch me. You know I have smooth skin, and Esau is hairy. I might seem like I'm deceiving him and doing something he didn't ask, and he'll be angry with me. I'll bring a curse on myself instead of a blessing. Rebekah said to Jacob, Let the curse fall on me, my son. Just listen to me and do what I say. So Jacob listened to his mother and brought her 2 good fat young goats. She made the meal just the way Isaac loved it. Rebekah took Esau's best clothes, which were with her in the house, and dressed Jacob in them. She put the goatskins on his hands and on the exposed parts of his neck. Then she gave the prepared food and bread to Jacob. Jacob went in to his father and said, I'm your son. I've done what you asked. Please sit up and eat what I've brought you so you can bless me. Isaac asked, How did you find game so quickly, my son? Jacob answered, Because the Lord your God helped me find it. Isaac said, Come closer, so I can feel you and know whether you're really my son Esau or not. Jacob came near, and Isaac felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's. He didn't recognize him, because heaven had allowed his senses to fail. Isaac didn't realize it, because Jacob's hands felt hairy like Esau's, so he blessed him. He asked, Are you really my son Esau? Jacob said, I am. Isaac said, Bring the food closer so I can eat and bless you. Jacob brought it, and Isaac ate. He brought him wine, and he drank. Then Isaac said, Come near and kiss me, my son. Jacob came near and kissed him. Isaac smelled the scent of his clothes and blessed him, saying, The smell of my son is like a field full of life, which the Lord has blessed. May the Lord give you the dew of heaven and the richness of the earth with plenty of grain and oil. Let nations serve you and people bow down to you. Be lord over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow before you. May all the blessings the Lord gave me and Abraham be passed on to you and your descendants forever. Cursed is anyone who curses you, and blessed is anyone who blesses you. Just as Isaac finished blessing Jacob and Jacob had left, Esau came in from his hunt. He also prepared a meal and brought it to his father, saying, Please get up and eat the food I've brought so you can bless me. Isaac asked, Who are you? He answered, I'm your firstborn son Esau. I did what you asked. Isaac was deeply shocked and said, "Then who was it who hunted game and brought it to me? I already ate and blessed him, and that blessing will stand. His descendants will be blessed forever." When Esau heard his father's words, he let out a loud and bitter cry. "Bless me too, father, please." But Isaac said, "Your brother came with trickery and took your blessing." Esau said, "Now I know why he's called Jacob. He's cheated me twice, first by taking my birthright and now my blessing." He asked, "Do you have any blessing left for me, father?" Isaac answered, "I've made him your master, and all his brothers I've given to him as servants. I've given him grain and wine and oil. What's left that I can give you, my son?" Esau said, "Do you only have one blessing, father? Bless me too." Then Esau cried aloud. Isaac said to him, "Your dwelling will be far from the earth's richness, and far from the dew of heaven. You will live by your sword and serve your brother. But when you become strong and shake his yoke from your neck, you will commit a complete sin unto death, and your descendants will be wiped out from under heaven." Esau kept threatening Jacob because of the blessing. He said in his heart, "When my father dies, I'll kill my brother Jacob." Chapter 27. Rebekah sends Jacob to Mesopotamia and Jacob's dream at Bethel. The words of Esau were revealed to Rebekah in a dream. She called for Jacob and said, "Esau wants to take revenge and kill you. Stay with him for a while until Esau's anger cools and he forgets what you've done. Then I'll send for you. I'm not afraid." "If he wants to kill me, I'll kill him," Jacob said. "I don't want to lose both my sons in one day," Rebekah replied. Jacob said, "You know father is old and can't see well. If I leave, it will upset him and he'll be angry. He might curse me. I won't go unless he sends me." Rebekah replied, "I'll speak to him, and he will send you." Rebekah went to Isaac and said to him, "I can't stand the daughters of Heth that Esau married. If Jacob marries one of these Canaanite women, what's the point of going on? The daughters of this land are evil." Isaac called Jacob, blessed him, and warned him, "Don't marry any of the daughters of Canaan. Go to Mesopotamia, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and marry one of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. May God Almighty bless you, make you fruitful, and multiply your descendants, so that you become a great assembly of people. May he give you the blessings of Abraham to you and your descendants, so you may inherit the land of your travels, the land God gave to Abraham. Go in peace, my son." Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Mesopotamia, to Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's mother. After Jacob left, Rebekah's spirit was heavy. She wept for her son. Isaac said to her, "My sister, don't weep for Jacob. He goes in peace and will return in peace. The Most High God will protect him from all harm and be with him. He won't abandon him. I know his journey will succeed in everything he does until he returns to us in peace. Don't be afraid. He walks an upright path. He is a good man, faithful and true. He will not perish. Don't cry." Isaac comforted Rebekah and blessed Jacob. Jacob left from the well of the oath and travelled toward Haran. He came to Luz, in the hill country, also called Bethel. It was evening, and he turned from the road to sleep because the sun had set. He took one of the stones from that place, put it near his head under a tree, and lay down to sleep. That night he had a dream. He saw a ladder standing on the earth, reaching all the way to heaven. Angels of the Lord were going up and down on it. The Lord stood at the top and said, "I am the Lord, the God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. The land where you are sleeping, I will give it to you and to your descendants. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, spreading out to the west, east, north, and south. Through you and your descendants all the families of the nations will be blessed. I will be with you and protect you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land in peace. I won't leave you until I've done everything I promised." Jacob woke up and said, "This is truly the house of the Lord. I didn't know it. This place is awe-inspiring. It must be the house of God. This is the gate of heaven." Early in the morning, Jacob took the stone he had placed under his head, set it up as a marker, and poured oil on it. He named the place Bethel, though it was formerly called Luz. "If the Lord is with me and protects me on this journey, and gives me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return safely to my father's house, then the Lord will be my God. And this stone, which I've set up as a pillar, will be his house. And of everything he gives me, I will give 1/10 back to him." Chapter 28, Jacob's marriage to Leah and Rachel, his children and riches. Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the east, to Laban, the brother of Rebekah. He stayed with him and served him for Rachel, Laban's daughter, for 7 years. When the time was complete, he said to Laban, "Give me my wife, for whom I have served you these years." And Laban answered, "I will give you your wife." Laban made a feast and took Leah, his elder daughter, and gave her to Jacob as wife. He also gave her Zilpah as her servant. Jacob thought she was Rachel, but when he went in to her, he saw she was Leah. Jacob was angry with Laban and said, "Why have you deceived me? Did I not serve you for Rachel and not for Leah? You have wronged me. Take your daughter, for you have done evil to me." Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, for Leah's eyes were weak, though her form was fair. Rachel had beautiful eyes and a lovely form. Laban said, "It is not the custom in our land to give the younger before the elder. It is written in the heavenly tables that no one should give the younger daughter before the elder. Whoever does this is guilty before heaven. Command the children of Israel that they never do such a thing, for it is very wicked." Laban said, "Let the 7 days of Leah's feast pass, and then I will also give you Rachel. But you must serve me 7 more years, and pasture my sheep as before." When the days of Leah's feast were finished, Laban gave Rachel to Jacob. He also gave Rachel Bilhah, the sister of Zilpah, as her servant. Jacob then served Laban another 7 years, for Leah had been given to him without payment. The Lord opened Leah's womb, and she gave birth to a son. She called his name Reuben, but Rachel's womb was closed, for the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, and Rachel loved. Leah conceived again and gave birth to a second son, and she called his name Simeon. She conceived again and bore a third son, and called his name Levi. She conceived again and bore a fourth son, and called his name Judah. Rachel envied Leah, for she had not borne children. She said to Jacob, "Give me children." Jacob answered, "Am I the one who withholds the fruit of the womb? It is the Lord who gives and withholds." When Rachel saw that Leah had 4 sons, she said to Jacob, "Go to Bilhah, my servant, and she will bear a child for me." She gave him Bilhah as wife, and Bilhah conceived and bore a son. Rachel named him Dan. Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob another son, and Rachel called him Naphtali. When Leah saw she had ceased bearing, she envied Rachel, and she gave her servant Zilpah to Jacob as wife. Zilpah conceived and bore a son, and Leah called him Gad. Zilpah bore again, and Leah called him Asher. Later Leah conceived again and bore a son, and she called him Issachar. She conceived again and bore 2 children, a son and a daughter. She called the son Zebulun, and the daughter Dinah. At last the Lord was gracious to Rachel, and opened her womb, and she conceived and gave birth to a son. She called his name Joseph. In the days when Joseph was born, Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wives and my children, and let me return to my father Isaac. I have completed the years of service for your 2 daughters. Now let me go." But Laban said to Jacob, "Stay with me and take wages. Pasture my flock for me again and take your pay." They agreed that Jacob's wages would be the lambs and goats that were black, spotted or speckled. All the flocks brought forth spotted and speckled young, and those became Jacob's. The rest belonged to Laban. Jacob's possessions multiplied greatly. He had many oxen, sheep, donkeys, camels, servants, and wealth. Laban and his sons envied him, and Laban watched him with evil intent. Chapter 29. Jacob's flight with his family, his covenant with Laban. Jacob saw this and called Leah and Rachel, speaking kindly to them. He told them how the Lord had shown him in a dream that he must return to his father's house. They answered, "Where you go, we will go." Jacob blessed the God of Abraham and Isaac, gathered his wives, children, and possessions, and crossed the river toward Gilead. He kept his intention hidden from Laban. In the 7th year of that cycle, Jacob turned toward Gilead in the 1st month, on the 21st day. Laban pursued him and overtook him in the mountains of Gilead in the 3rd month, on the 13th day. But the Lord did not allow Laban to harm Jacob, for he appeared to him in a dream by night. On the 15th day, Jacob made a feast for Laban and all who came with him. Jacob swore to Laban, and Laban swore to Jacob, that neither would cross the mountain of Gilead to harm the other. They made a heap of stones as a witness, and the place was called the heap of witness. In former times, the land of Gilead was called the land of the Rephaim. The Rephaim were giants of great height, from 10 cubits down to 7. Their territory spread from the land of Ammon to Mount Hermon. Their cities were Karnaim, Ashtaroth, Edrei, Misur, and Baon. The Lord destroyed them because of their evil deeds, and the Amorites took their place. No people today have filled their sins to such measure, nor will they have long life on the earth. Jacob sent Laban away, and he returned to Mesopotamia. Jacob remained in Gilead. Jacob crossed the Jabbok in the 9th month, on the 11th day. That day Esau his brother came to him. They were reconciled, and Esau returned to Seir, but Jacob dwelt in tents. In the 1st year of the next cycle, Jacob crossed the Jordan and dwelt beyond it. He pastured his flocks from the sea of the Heap to Bethshan, to Dothan, and to the forest of Akrabim. He sent gifts to his father Isaac, clothing, food, drink, milk, butter, cheese, and dates from the valley. He also sent to his mother Rebekah 4 times a year, at ploughing, at harvest, at autumn rain, and in spring to the tower of Abraham. Isaac had returned from the well of the oath and lived at the tower of Abraham in Hebron, apart from Esau. For while Jacob was in Mesopotamia, Esau had taken a wife, Mahalath, daughter of Ishmael, and gathered all his father's flocks and his wives, and went to live on Mount Seir, leaving Isaac alone. Isaac remained in the tower of Abraham, and Jacob sent him and Rebekah all they needed. They blessed Jacob with all their heart and all their soul. Chapter 30. Dinah ravished, slaughter of the Shechemites, laws against intermarriage, and the choice of Levi. In the 1st year of the 6th week, Jacob went up to Salem, east of Shechem, in peace during the 4th month. There Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, was taken into the house of Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, prince of the land. He lay with her and defiled her. She was still a little girl, only 12 years old. Shechem pleaded with his father and with Dinah's brothers to let her be given to him as a wife. But Jacob and his sons were filled with anger, because the men of Shechem had defiled their sister. They spoke deceitfully and dealt treacherously with them, deceiving them. Simeon and Levi came unexpectedly to Shechem and carried out judgment. They killed all the men they found in the city, not leaving a single one alive. They put them all to death in torment, because they had shamed their sister Dinah. From that time forward it was decreed in heaven that no daughter of Israel should ever again be defiled, and judgment was appointed for those who did such things. They were to be destroyed by the sword. The Lord handed the men of Shechem over to the sons of Jacob, so they could execute justice upon them, so this defilement would never again be repeated in Israel. If any man in Israel gives his daughter or his sister to someone from the Gentile nations, he shall die. They must stone him, for he has brought shame on Israel. The woman shall be burned with fire, for she has dishonoured her father's household. She will be removed from the people. No adulteress or impurity should be found in Israel throughout the generations of the earth, for Israel is holy to the Lord. Any man who defiles Israel shall surely die. They must stone him with stones. This law has no expiration, no forgiveness, and no atonement. A man who defiles his daughter shall be cut off from Israel, for he has offered his seed to Moloch and acted wickedly. Moses was commanded to warn the people of Israel not to give their daughters to Gentiles or to take Gentile women for their sons. This is detestable before the Lord. For this reason the story of the Shechemites was written in the law, showing what they did to Dinah and how Jacob's sons responded, saying, "We will not give our daughter to an uncircumcised man, for that would be a disgrace to us." It is a disgrace to Israel for any man to give or take a Gentile wife. It is impure and abominable. Israel cannot be clean if it has Gentile wives or gives its daughters to Gentile husbands. If someone does this, there will be plague after plague, curse upon curse. Every judgment, plague and curse will fall on that person. If anyone turns a blind eye to those who commit impurity, or who defile the Lord's sanctuary, or who profane his holy name, the whole nation will be judged along with the guilty one. There will be no favoritism, no acceptance of offerings, sacrifices, or sweet fragrances from such a person. The same will apply to every man or woman in Israel who defiles the sanctuary. For this reason, the sons of Jacob who destroyed Shechem were recorded in heaven as having acted righteously. Levi was chosen for the priesthood because he was zealous to carry out justice and vengeance for the shame brought upon Israel. Blessing and righteousness were written in Levi's favour on the heavenly tablets. His righteousness is remembered throughout the years. It is written for 1,000 generations. It will be remembered for him and for his descendants. He is written on the heavenly tablets as a friend of God and a righteous man. This entire account was written and commanded to be shared with the children of Israel, so they would not sin or break the commandments or violate the covenant that had been appointed for them. They were to keep the covenant and be recorded as friends of God. But if they disobey, committing impurity and sin in every way, they will be recorded on the heavenly tablets as adversaries. They will be erased from the book of life, and written in the book of those who are to be destroyed and uprooted from the earth. On the day Jacob's sons killed the men of Shechem, a record was written in heaven, declaring that they had acted with righteousness and justice. It was written as a blessing. They brought Dinah out of Shechem's house and seized everything that belonged to the city, sheep, oxen, donkeys, flocks, wealth, and brought it all to Jacob. Jacob reproached his sons for putting the city to the sword, for he feared the Canaanites and the Perizzites who lived nearby. But the fear of the Lord fell on all the surrounding cities, and no one pursued Jacob's sons. Chapter 31. Jacob's journey to Bethel and Hebron. Isaac blesses Levi and Judah. On the new moon Jacob said to his household, "Purify yourselves and change your garments. Let us go to Bethel, where I vowed to the Lord when I fled from Esau. He has brought me back safely, so put away the foreign gods among you." They gave him all the idols and ornaments they were wearing. Rachel gave him the household gods she had stolen from Laban. Jacob burned and smashed them, then buried the remains under an oak tree in Shechem. On the new moon of the 7th month Jacob went to Bethel. He built an altar at the place where he had slept, and he set up a stone pillar there. He sent word to Isaac and Rebekah, inviting them to come to the sacrifice. Isaac said, "Let my son Jacob come, that I may see him before I die." Jacob came to his father Isaac and his mother Rebekah to Abraham's house. He brought 2 of his sons with him, Levi and Judah. Rebekah came out from the tower to greet Jacob. Her spirit was revived when she heard, "Your son Jacob has returned." She kissed and embraced him. She saw his 2 sons and asked, "Are these your sons, my son?" She kissed and blessed them, saying, "In you the seed of Abraham will become glorious. You will be a blessing on the earth." Jacob went to Isaac, who lay in his chamber, and brought his 2 sons with him. He kissed Isaac's hand, and Isaac embraced him and wept on his neck. The darkness left Isaac's eyes, and he saw Levi and Judah. He said, "Are these your sons? They look just like you." Jacob said, "Yes, father, you see truly, they are my sons." The boys came near, and Isaac kissed and embraced them both. The spirit of prophecy came upon him. He took Levi in his right hand and Judah in his left. He blessed Levi first, saying, "May the God of all creation bless you and your descendants forever. May he give you greatness and glory. May you and your children draw near to serve him in his sanctuary like the angels. Your children will be honored, made holy, and made great. They will be princes, judges, and leaders of the tribes. They will speak the word of the Lord, declare his ways to Jacob and his paths to Israel. The Lord's blessing will be in their mouths to bless the people." To Levi, Isaac said, "Levi, you will share his table, and your table will always be full. You and your sons will eat at it forever. Those who hate you will fall. All who curse you will be cursed. All who bless you will be blessed." To Judah he said, "May the Lord give you strength to defeat your enemies. You will be a prince over the tribes. May your name and the name of your sons spread through every land. Nations will fear you. The help of Jacob and salvation of Israel will come through you. When you sit on the throne of righteousness, there will be peace for the people. Blessed are those who bless you. Cursed are those who oppose and afflict you." Isaac kissed and embraced Judah again and rejoiced greatly, for he had seen Jacob's sons with his own eyes. He worshipped, blessed them both, and stayed with Jacob that night. They ate and drank with joy. Isaac laid Levi to his right and Judah to his left. It was counted to him as righteousness. Jacob told Isaac everything that night, how the Lord had shown him mercy, protected him, and prospered him. Isaac blessed the God of Abraham for not withdrawing his mercy and righteousness from Isaac's children. In the morning, Jacob told Isaac about the vow he had made, the vision he had seen, the altar he had built, and the offering he had prepared. Isaac said, "I cannot go with you, my son. I am old and weak. Go in peace. Set your mother on a donkey and take her with you. I know you came because of me, and this day is blessed because we have seen each other alive. May you prosper and fulfill your vow. Don't delay it, for you will be held accountable. May the Lord who made all things be pleased with you." Isaac said to Rebekah, "Go with Jacob." Rebekah went with Jacob, and Deborah went with her. They came to Bethel. Jacob remembered the blessing Isaac had given him and his sons Levi and Judah, and he rejoiced. He blessed the God of his fathers and said, "Now I know that I have eternal hope, and so do my sons before the God of all." It was written as an eternal testimony on the heavenly tablets, how Isaac blessed Levi and Judah. Chapter 32. Levi's dream at Bethel and the law of tithes. Jacob stayed that night at Bethel, and Levi had a dream. He saw himself and his sons ordained as priests of the Most High God forever. When he awoke, he blessed the Lord. Jacob rose early on the 14th of the month and gave a tithe of everything he had with him. Men, cattle, gold, vessels, garments, he gave 1/10 of it all. In those days Rachel became pregnant with Benjamin. Jacob counted his sons upward from himself, and Levi fell to the portion of the Lord. Jacob clothed him in priestly garments and filled his hands for the roll. On the 15th of the month, Jacob brought to the altar 14 oxen, 28 rams, 49 sheep, 7 lambs, and 21 goats as a burnt offering. It was a pleasing aroma before God. This offering was part of the vow Jacob had made to give 1/10, along with the fruit and drink offerings. After the fire had consumed the offering, he burned incense over it, then gave a thank offering, 2 oxen, 4 rams, 4 sheep, 4 he-goats, 2-year-old sheep, and 2 kids of the goats. He did this every day for 7 days. He and his sons and all his men ate together in joy for 7 days, blessing and thanking the Lord who had delivered him and fulfilled his vow. He tithed all the clean animals for burnt offerings. The unclean animals were not given to Levi, but Jacob gave Levi all the souls of the men. Levi performed the priestly duties at Bethel in the presence of his father Jacob, surpassing his 10 brothers. Jacob fulfilled his vow by tithing again and sanctifying it. It became holy to the Lord. Because of this, it is written on the heavenly tablets, "The tithe of the tithe shall be eaten before the Lord from year to year in the place where his name dwells." This law has no end. The second tithe is to be eaten each year in the chosen place. Nothing should be left over into the next year. The seed must be eaten within its season, the wine during its harvest, and the oil during its proper time. Whatever is left over and grows old is to be burned. It is unclean. It must not be eaten in the sanctuary if it has aged. All tithes of oxen and sheep are holy to the Lord and belong to his priests, who eat them before him year after year. This, too, is written and ordained on the heavenly tablets. On the night of the 22nd of the month, Jacob decided to build up the place, surround it with a wall, and sanctify it forever for himself and his descendants. But that night the Lord appeared to him and said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel." The Lord continued, "I am the one who created heaven and earth. I will multiply you greatly. Kings will come from you and rule wherever mankind has set foot. I will give your descendants the entire earth. They will judge the nations and eventually inherit the world forever." When the Lord finished speaking, he ascended. Jacob watched until he had gone up to heaven. That night Jacob saw a vision. An angel descended with 7 tablets in his hands. The angel gave them to Jacob, and he read them. He understood everything written about himself and his sons for all future ages. The angel said, "Do not build this place. Do not make it a sanctuary forever. Do not live here. Go instead to the house of your father Abraham, and stay with Isaac until his death. You will die in Egypt in peace, but be buried in this land with honor, in the tomb of your ancestors with Abraham and Isaac. Do not be afraid. What you have seen and read will happen exactly as revealed. Write everything down." Jacob asked, "How can I remember all I've seen and read?" The angel answered, "I will bring everything to your remembrance." Then he ascended, and Jacob awoke. He remembered everything and wrote it down. He celebrated another day there, making offerings just as he had before. He called the new day Addition, for it was added to the previous days of the feast. This too was written on the heavenly tablets. He was shown to celebrate this extra day, and it was added to the 7 days of the feast. Its name was called Addition, because it was recorded among the feast days, in line with the number of days in the year. That night, on the 23rd, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died. She was buried beneath the city under the oak by the river. Jacob called the place the River of Deborah, and the tree the Oak of Mourning. Rebekah returned to her home with Isaac. Jacob sent rams, sheep, and he-goats with her so she could prepare a meal for Isaac. Jacob followed his mother until they reached the land of Cabratan, and he settled there. That night Rachel gave birth to a son. She named him Son of My Sorrow, for the labour was hard. But Jacob called him Benjamin. He was born on the 11th day of the 8th month. Rachel died there and was buried in the land of Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. Jacob built a pillar over her grave, marking the road above it. Chapter 33. Reuben's Sin and the Law of Incest. Jacob moved and lived south of Magdala-Draph. Later he and Leah went to visit Isaac on the new moon of the 10th month. Reuben saw Bilhah, Rachel's maid and his father's concubine, bathing in secret. He became infatuated with her. That night he hid and entered her house while she was sleeping alone. He lay with her. She awoke and realized it was Reuben. She cried out, pulled away, and was deeply ashamed. Reuben fled. Bilhah grieved but told no one. When Jacob returned and sought her, she said, "I am not clean for you. Reuben has defiled me. I was asleep and didn't know until he uncovered my skirt and lay with me." Jacob was furious with Reuben for this act, for he had violated his father's household. From then on, Jacob never approached Bilhah again. This sin was considered abominable before the Lord. A man must not uncover his father's skirt. Because of this, it is written and ordained on the heavenly tablets, "No man shall lie with his father's wife." Both the man and the woman must die. They have committed an unclean act on the earth. Nothing unclean shall remain among God's chosen people. It is also written a second time, "Cursed is he who lies with his father's wife, for he has uncovered his father's shame." And all the holy ones said, "So be it." Moses was commanded to tell the children of Israel to observe this law. The punishment is death. There is no atonement for it. The offenders must be killed and removed from among God's people. No man in Israel who commits this act may remain alive even a single day. It is abominable and unclean. Let no one say that Reuben was forgiven or granted life for his act. At that time the full law had not yet been revealed. But in your days, Moses, it has been revealed in full, a law for all generations. There is no expiration for this law and no way to atone for it. They must be removed from the nation and killed the day they commit it. Moses was to write all this down so that Israel would obey and not sin unto death. The Lord judges all fairly. He does not show favoritism or accept bribes. The people must hear these covenant words, obey them, and stay clean. For uncleanness, abomination, and pollution will bring destruction. There is no greater sin on earth than this type of fornication. Israel is a holy nation, a people of inheritance, a royal and priestly people. Such defilement must not be found in their midst. In the 3rd year of that 6th week, Jacob and his sons went to the house of Abraham. They dwelled near Isaac and Rebekah. These were the names of Jacob's children: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun. These were the sons of his wife Leah, Joseph and Benjamin. These were the sons of his wife Rachel, Dan and Naphtali. These were the sons of his concubine Bilhah, Gad and Asher. These were the sons of his concubine Zilpah. Dinah was the daughter of Leah and the only daughter of Jacob. They all came and bowed before Isaac and Rebekah, who blessed Jacob and his children. Isaac rejoiced greatly, For he saw the sons of his younger son and gave them his blessing. Chapter 36. Isaac's last words and admonitions, his death, the death of Leah. In the 6th year of that week Isaac called his 2 sons, Esau and Jacob. They came to him, and he said, "My sons, I am going the way of my fathers to the eternal house where they have gone. Bury me near Abraham my father, in the double cave in the field of Ephron the Hittite. It is the sepulchre Abraham purchased, and I dug my own resting place there. There bury me. I command you, my sons, practice righteousness and uprightness on the earth, so the Lord may bring upon you everything he promised to Abraham and his seed. Love one another as a man loves his own soul. Let each one seek what will benefit his brother, and act together on the earth, loving each other as your own soul. Concerning idols I command you to reject them and hate them. Love them not, for they are full of deception for those who worship them. Remember the Lord, God of Abraham your father, and how I too worshipped him and served him in righteousness and joy. He multiplied me and increased my seed like the stars of heaven, and he will establish you on the earth as a planting of righteousness that will never be rooted out for all generations. Now I make you swear a great oath by the glorious and mighty name of him who created the heavens and the earth and all things together, that you will fear him and worship him. Love your brother with affection and righteousness. Do not desire evil against your brother from this day forward, so that you may prosper in your deeds and not be destroyed. If either of you plans evil against his brother, know that from now on anyone who does such will fall into his brother's hand and be rooted out of the land of the living. His seed will be destroyed from under heaven. On the day of wrath, when the Lord's anger burns like fire, as he burned Sodom, so he will burn his land and his city. His name will be blotted out of the book of life, and he will depart into eternal condemnation. Their judgment will be renewed forever with wrath, torment, plagues, and disease. Isaac testified these words to his sons. That day he divided all his possessions between them, giving the larger portion to the firstborn, along with the tower and all that Abraham possessed at the well of the oath. Esau said, "I sold my birthright to Jacob and gave it to him. Let it belong to him. I have no word against it, for it is his." Isaac blessed them both and said, "May blessing rest upon you and your seed this day. You have given me rest, and my heart is not troubled about the birthright." They ate and drank together before him, and Isaac rejoiced because they were of one mind. That night he lay down with joy in his heart and died, 180 years old. Esau and Jacob buried him in the double cave. Esau went to the land of Edom, to the mountains of Seir, and lived there. Jacob dwelt in Hebron, in the tower of his father Abraham's sojournings, and worshipped the Lord with all his heart. In the 4th year of the next cycle, Leah, the wife of Jacob, died. He buried her in the double cave near Rebekah, to the left of the grave of Sarah. All her sons and his sons came to mourn and comfort Jacob, for he loved her deeply after Rachel died. She was perfect and upright in all her ways, gentle, peaceable, and honourable. Jacob never heard a harsh word from her. He remembered her deeds, and he lamented her with all his heart and soul. Chapter 37. Esau and his sons wage war with Jacob. When Isaac died, the sons of Esau heard that the larger portion of inheritance had gone to Jacob. They grew angry. They asked, "Why did your father give Jacob the portion of the elder and pass you over, even though you are the elder and Jacob is the younger?" Esau said, "Because I sold my birthright to Jacob for a meal of lentils. On the day my father sent me to hunt for food, Jacob came with deceit and gave my father bread and drink. My father blessed him and placed me under his hand. Our father made us both swear that we would never plan evil against each other, but would walk in love and peace as brothers. They said, 'We will not listen to you. Our strength is greater than his. We shall go against him, slay him, and destroy him and his sons. If you will not go with us, we will consider you against us. Let us send to Aram, Philistia, Moab, and Ammon. Let us hire strong men for battle, and together we will wipe him from the earth before he grows too strong.' Do not go to war with Jacob, you will be killed," Esau said. "This is how you have always been, you bowing down to him." "We will not listen to you," his sons said to Esau. So they sent to Aram and hired warriors. Men also came from Moab, Ammon, Philistia, Edom, the Horites, and the Kittim. 4,000 chosen warriors gathered. "Lead them, or we will kill you," his sons said. Esau burned with anger at being forced, yet the bitterness in his heart against Jacob rose up again. He forgot the oath he swore to his father and mother. Meanwhile Jacob, still mourning Leah, did not know they were coming. Only when they drew near the tower with 4,000 armed men did the people of Hebron warn him. They said, "Your brother comes to fight against you." They loved Jacob more, for he was merciful and generous. Jacob shut the gates of the tower and called out from the battlements, "Brother, is this how you comfort me for my wife who has died? Is this the oath you swore to our father and mother before they died?" "You have broken your oath," Jacob yelled to Esau. "There is no oath between men that lasts forever. Every day men devise evil against their foes. You hate me and my children. There is no brotherhood with you. If the wild boar can change its bristles into soft wool, if the wolf can live with the lamb in peace, if the lion can plough with the ox, then I will make peace with you. When the raven turns white, then know that I love you. Until then, you and your sons will be rooted out." "There will be no peace," Esau answered. When Jacob heard the rage in his brother's voice and saw him charging like a wild boar upon a spear, he said to his servants, "Attack him and all his companions." Chapter 38. The war between Jacob and Esau at the Tower of Hebron. The death of Esau and the overthrow of his forces. After this, Judah said to Jacob his father, "Bend your bow, father, and send forth your arrow. Strike down the adversary and slay the enemy. But let us not kill your brother with our own hands, for he is as you are, and he is your likeness. Let us give him this honour." Jacob bent his bow, sent forth an arrow, and struck Esau his brother on the right side of his chest, killing him. He bent the bow again and struck Adoram the Aramean on the left side of his chest, killing him as well. Then the sons of Jacob and their servants went out, dividing themselves into 4 companies on the 4 sides of the tower. Judah went in front with Naphtali and Gad and 50 servants on the south side. They struck down all they found, and none escaped. Levi, Dan, and Asher went on the east side with 50 men and slew the warriors of Moab and Ammon. Reuben, Issachar, and Zebulun went on the north side with 50 men and slew the warriors of the Philistines. Simeon, Benjamin, and Enoch, the son of Reuben, went on the west side with 50 men and slew 400 warriors of Edom and the Horites. 600 more fled. 4 of Esau's sons fled with them, leaving their father lying dead on the hill of Aduram. The sons of Jacob pursued them to the mountains of Seir. Jacob buried his brother on the hill of Aduram and returned home. The sons of Jacob pressed hard upon the sons of Esau in the mountains of Seir, forcing them into submission until they became servants of Jacob's sons. They sent to Jacob, asking whether they should kill the survivors or make peace. Jacob commanded them to make peace. So they made peace and made them their servants, forcing them to pay tribute to Jacob and his sons continually. They continued paying tribute until the day Jacob went down into Egypt. To this very day, the sons of Edom have not been able to escape the servitude imposed on them by the 12 sons of Jacob. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the children of Israel. Balak, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom. His city was Danaba. Balak died, and Jobab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah, reigned after him. Jobab died, and Asam of the land of Teman reigned after him. Asam died, and Adath, the son of Barad, who struck down Midian in the field of Moab, reigned after him. His city was Avith. Adath died, and Salman from Amasekah reigned after him. Salman died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned after him. Saul died, and Balunan, the son of Achbor, reigned after him. Balunan died, and Adath reigned after him. His wife was Mitabith, daughter of Matarat, granddaughter of Mezahab. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom. Chapter 39. Joseph's service with Potiphar, his purity and imprisonment. And Jacob lived in the land of his forefathers, the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph was 17 years old when they brought him down into the land of Egypt, and Potiphar, a eunuch of Pharaoh and the chief cook, bought him. He put Joseph over his entire household, and the blessing of the Lord came upon the Egyptian's house because of Joseph, and the Lord caused everything he did to prosper. The Egyptian trusted Joseph with everything, for he saw that the Lord was with him and blessed all his work. Joseph was handsome and very good-looking, and his master's wife noticed him. She desired him and begged him to sleep with her. But he didn't give in. He remembered the Lord and the words his father Jacob used to read from Abraham's teachings, that no man should commit adultery with another man's wife. The punishment for that was death, already declared in heaven before the Most High, and the sin would be recorded in the eternal books before the Lord. Joseph remembered and refused her. She pursued him for a full year, but he would not listen to her. One day she grabbed him in the house and tried to force him. She locked the doors and held him tightly, but he left his garment in her hands and fled out the door. Your Hebrew servant, the one you love, tried to force himself on me. When I screamed, he fled, leaving his garment in my hands, Potiphar's wife told Potiphar. The Egyptians saw Joseph's garment, the broken door, and heard his wife's accusation. He threw Joseph into prison, the same place where the king's prisoners were kept. But the Lord gave Joseph favor with the chief prison guard, who saw that the Lord was with him and made all his work succeed. The chief put everything under Joseph's care. He didn't even keep track of what Joseph was managing, because Joseph handled it all, and the Lord blessed it. Joseph remained there for 2 years. During that time Pharaoh was angry with 2 of his servants, the chief butler and the chief baker, and he imprisoned them in the house of the chief cook, the same prison where Joseph was. The prison chief assigned Joseph to serve them, and he did. Both the butler and baker had dreams, and they told them to Joseph. Joseph interpreted the dreams, and things turned out exactly as he said. Pharaoh restored the butler to his position, and the baker was executed. But the butler forgot all about Joseph, even though he had promised to tell Pharaoh. He just forgot. Chapter 40. Pharaoh's dreams, Joseph's rise, and marriage. During those days, Pharaoh had 2 dreams in one night about a coming famine in the land. He woke up and called all the magicians and dream interpreters in Egypt, but none could explain his dreams. Then the chief butler remembered Joseph and told Pharaoh about him. Pharaoh brought Joseph out of prison, and Joseph heard both dreams. He said, "Your 2 dreams are one. There will be 7 years of great abundance across Egypt, followed by 7 years of severe famine like nothing seen before." Joseph advised Pharaoh to appoint overseers to gather and store food during the plentiful years, so there would be supplies during the famine and the land wouldn't be destroyed. The Lord gave Joseph favor in Pharaoh's eyes, and Pharaoh said to his servants, "Can we find anyone as wise and discerning as this man? The Spirit of God is with him." So Pharaoh made Joseph second in command over all of Egypt and gave him authority over the entire kingdom. He rode in Pharaoh's second chariot. Pharaoh clothed him in fine linen and placed a gold chain around his neck. A herald proclaimed before him, and Pharaoh gave him a ring, put him over his entire house, and said, "Only on the throne will I be greater than you." Joseph ruled over the land of Egypt. All of Pharaoh's officials and workers respected him, for he judged fairly, without arrogance, favoritism, or bribes. Because of Joseph, Egypt was at peace. The Lord gave him favor and mercy for all generations, and Pharaoh's kingdom was well governed, free from evil or corruption. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zaphenath-Paneah and gave him a wife, the daughter of Potiphar, a priest in Heliopolis. Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. That same year Isaac died. Just as Joseph said, the land had 7 years of abundance. Crops produced beyond measure, one measure yielding 1,800. Joseph stored food in every city until they could no longer count it. It was so abundant. Chapter 41. Judah, Tamar, and Forgiveness. In the appointed time, Judah arranged a marriage for his firstborn son, He chose a woman named Tamar from the daughters of Aram. But hated her and refused to sleep with her because his mother was from the daughters of Canaan, and he wanted a wife from his mother's family. Judah didn't allow it. Was wicked, and the Lord took his life. Then Judah said to Onan, his second son, "Go in to your brother's wife and fulfill your duty to raise up children for your brother." Onan knew the child would not be his, so when he slept with her he spilled his seed on the ground. That was evil in the Lord's eyes, and he took Onan's life too. Judah told Tamar, "Stay in your father's house as a widow until my son Shelah grows up." But when Shelah did grow up, Judah's wife Bedsel prevented the marriage. In time Judah's wife died, and later Judah went up to Timnah to shear his sheep. Tamar heard this and removed her widow's clothing. She dressed herself, veiled her face, and waited along the road to Timnah. Judah saw her and thought she was a prostitute. He approached her and said, "Let me be with you." She agreed. She asked for payment. He said he had nothing with him but his ring, necklace, and staff. She accepted them as a pledge until he sent her a goat. He slept with her, and she conceived. She returned home, and Judah sent his servant with the goat to find her. But no one knew her. They said, "There is no prostitute here." The servant returned to Judah and said he couldn't find her. Judah said, "Let her keep the items, otherwise we'll be mocked." 3 months later, it became known Tamar was pregnant. Judah said, "Bring her out and let her be burned." As they brought her out, she sent Judah the ring, necklace, and staff, and said, "The man who owns these is the father of my child." Judah recognized them and said, "Tamar is more righteous than I am," so they didn't burn her. She wasn't given to Shelah, and Judah never approached her again. Tamar gave birth to twins, Perez and Zerah. This marked the end of the 7 years of plenty Joseph had spoken of. Judah acknowledged his sin and felt deep shame for sleeping with his daughter-in-law. He began to grieve and pray for forgiveness. In a dream he was told he had been forgiven because he repented and never did it again. He was forgiven because he turned from his ignorance and sin. And the command was given to Israel: anyone who lies with his daughter-in-law or mother-in-law commits a grave sin and must be burned with fire, both man and woman, to remove pollution from the land and turn away God's wrath. We told Judah that his 2 sons had not slept with Tamar, and for this reason his lineage was preserved for another generation and not wiped out. Because he had sought righteous judgment according to Abraham's command to his sons, his line was spared. Chapter 42. The two journeys of the sons of Jacob to Egypt. In the first year of the 3rd week of the 45th Jubilee, the famine began to spread across the land. The rain ceased, and none fell anywhere. The earth became barren, but in Egypt there was food, because Joseph had gathered the seed of the land during the 7 years of plenty and preserved it. The Egyptians came to Joseph to ask for food. He opened the storehouses and sold grain from the first year to the people of the land for gold. The famine was very severe in Canaan. When Jacob heard that there was food in Egypt, he sent his 10 sons to obtain some, but he did not send Benjamin. The 10 sons of Jacob arrived in Egypt among those who came to buy food. Joseph recognized them, but they did not recognize him. He spoke harshly to them and asked questions, saying, "Are you not spies? Have you come to scout out the land?" Then he had them imprisoned. Later he released them, but kept Simeon, sending the other 9 away. He filled their sacks with grain and returned their gold without them knowing. He told them to bring their youngest brother, since they had told him their father was alive and that they had another brother. They left Egypt and returned to Canaan, telling Jacob all that had happened. They explained how the ruler had spoken harshly to them and kept Simeon until they returned with Benjamin. Jacob said, "You have robbed me of my children. Joseph is gone, Simeon is gone, and now you want to take Benjamin. All this suffering has come upon me. My son will not go down with you in case he becomes sick. His mother bore me 2 sons, one is gone, and now you would take the other. If he were to get a fever on the journey, you would bring my old age to the grave in sorrow." He saw their money had been returned in every man's sack, and this made him afraid to send Benjamin. The famine worsened and became severe in Canaan and all surrounding lands except Egypt. Many of the Egyptians had stored their own grain after seeing Joseph stockpile food during the years of plenty. The people of Egypt fed on that food during the first year of the famine. When Israel saw that there was no escape from the famine, he told his sons, "Go again and get food so we do not die." They said, "We will not go unless our youngest brother goes with us." Israel realized that if he did not send Benjamin, they would all die from famine. Reuben said, "Put him in my care. If I don't bring him back, you can kill my 2 sons in his place." But Jacob said, "He will not go with you." Then Judah approached and said, "Send him with me. If I do not bring him back, I will bear the blame before you all my life." So Jacob sent Benjamin with them in the 2nd year of that week, on the 1st day of the month. They went to Egypt bringing gifts, stacte, almonds, terebinth nuts, and pure honey. They stood before Joseph. He saw Benjamin and asked, "Is this your youngest brother?" They said, "Yes, it is." He said, "The Lord be gracious to you, my son." He brought them into his house, released Simeon, and made a feast. They gave Joseph the gifts they had brought. They all ate at Joseph's table, and Benjamin's portion was 7 times larger than any of the others. They ate, drank, and prepared to return home with their donkeys. Joseph devised a test to see whether peace truly lived in their hearts. He said to the steward, "Fill their sacks with food, return their gold, and place my silver drinking cup in the sack of the youngest. Then send them on their way." Chapter 43. Joseph tests and reveals himself to his brothers. The steward did as Joseph said. He filled their sacks with food, returned their gold, and placed the silver cup in Benjamin's sack. At dawn they departed. "Pursue them, accuse them of repaying good with evil, and stealing the silver cup my lord drinks from. Bring back the youngest quickly before I sit in judgment." The steward ran after them and repeated Joseph's words. They replied, "Far be it from us to steal from your master. We even brought back the gold we found in our sacks the first time. Why would we steal now? Search us. If the cup is found, let that man die and the rest of us become your servants. No, only the one who has the cup will be my servant. The rest may go home in peace." He searched their sacks from oldest to youngest. The cup was found in Benjamin's sack. They tore their garments in grief, loaded their donkeys, and returned to the city. They bowed before Joseph. "You have done evil. I fear God. The rest of you may go. The one with the cup will stay as my servant. Do you not know that a man cherishes his cup as I do? Let me speak. Our father had 2 sons by one mother. One is lost, and only this one remains. Our father's soul is bound to this boy's life. If we return without him, our father will die of sorrow. Let me stay in his place as his substitute, and let the boy go home. I gave my word to my father. If I fail, I will carry the blame forever." Joseph saw that they were united in love and goodness. He could no longer hold back, and revealed himself. He spoke in Hebrew and fell on their necks, weeping. They still did not understand at first and began to weep too. "Do not weep for me. Go bring my father. You see, my mouth speaks this, and my brother Benjamin sees me. This is the 2nd year of famine. There are 5 more years without harvest or fruit. Bring your families quickly. Do not worry about your possessions. God sent me ahead to preserve life. Tell my father that I am alive. God has made me a father to Pharaoh and ruler of all Egypt. Tell him of my glory and all the riches God has given me." By Pharaoh's command he gave them chariots and supplies. He gave each of them fine clothes and silver. He sent their father raiment, silver, and 10 donkeys carrying grain. Then he sent them on their way. They returned and told Jacob that Joseph was alive and feeding nations with grain, that he ruled all of Egypt. Jacob did not believe them at first. His mind was overwhelmed, but when he saw the wagons Joseph had sent, his spirit revived. "It is enough. Joseph is alive. I will go and see him before I die." Chapter 44. Jacob celebrates first fruits and journeys to Egypt. Israel began his journey from his house on the new moon of the 3rd month. He travelled to the well of the oath and offered a sacrifice to the God of his father Isaac on the 7th day of the month. He remembered the dream he had at Bethel and became afraid to go down to Egypt. He considered sending word to Joseph to come to him instead. He stayed there for 7 days, hoping for a vision to guide his decision. He celebrated the harvest festival of first fruits with old grain, because there was no new seed in the land. The famine covered everything, beasts, cattle, birds, and mankind. On the 16th day the Lord appeared to him and said, "Jacob, Jacob." He replied, "Here I am." The Lord said, "I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham and Isaac. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will make you a great nation there. I will go with you and bring you back again. You will be buried in this land, and Joseph will place his hands over your eyes. Do not fear. Go to Egypt." His sons and grandsons rose up, placed their father and belongings on wagons, and departed from the well of the oath on the 16th day of the 3rd month. They journeyed to Egypt. Israel sent Judah ahead to Joseph to examine the land of Goshen, as Joseph had instructed them to settle there. It was the best part of Egypt, close to Joseph, and ideal for their families and livestock. These are the names of the sons of Jacob who went to Egypt with him. Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. His sons were Enoch, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. Simeon and his sons, Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. Levi and his sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Judah and his sons, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah. Issachar and his sons, Tola, Puah, Jashub, and Shimron. Zebulun and his sons, Sered, Elon, and Jaleel. These were the sons of Leah and their sons, born in Mesopotamia, including their sister Dinah. With Jacob they totaled 30. Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, bore Gad and Asher. Gad's sons, Ziphion, Haggi, Shuni, Esbon, Eri, Areli, and Arodi. Asher's children, Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, Beriah, and their sister Sarah. Zilpah's total, 14, Leah's total, 44. Rachel, Jacob's wife, bore Joseph and Benjamin. Joseph's sons, born in Egypt before Jacob arrived, were Manasseh and Ephraim. Benjamin's sons, Bela, Betcher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ahi, Rosh, Muppim, Huppim, and Ard. Rachel's total, 14. Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, bore Dan and Naphtali. Dan's sons, Hushim, Samon, Asudi, Ijachar, and Salomon. All but Hushim died the year they entered Egypt. Naphtali's sons, Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, Shallum, and Iv. Eve was born after the famine and later died in Egypt. Rachel's handmaid's line totaled 26. In all, Jacob's family that entered Egypt numbered 70 souls. These were his children and grandchildren. 5 of them died in Egypt before they reached Joseph and had no children. Back in Canaan, 2 sons of Judah, and Onan, died and had no offspring. The children of Israel buried those who perished, and they were counted among the 70 Gentile nations. Chapter 45. Joseph receives Jacob. Israel went into the country of Egypt, into the land of Goshen, on the new moon of the 4th month. Joseph went to meet his father Jacob in the land of Goshen, and he fell on his father's neck and wept. Israel said to Joseph, "Now let me die, since I have seen you, and now may the Lord God of Israel be blessed, the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac, who has not withheld his mercy and his grace from his servant Jacob. It is enough for me that I have seen your face while I am yet alive. True is the vision which I saw at Bethel. Blessed be the Lord my God forever and ever, and blessed be his name." Joseph and his brothers ate bread before their father and drank wine. Jacob rejoiced with great joy because he saw Joseph eating with his brothers and drinking before him, and he blessed the Creator of all things who had preserved him and had preserved for him his 12 sons. Joseph gave to his father and his brothers the right of dwelling in the land of Goshen and in Ramesses and all the region round about, which he ruled over before Pharaoh. Israel and his sons lived in the land of Goshen, the best part of the land of Egypt, and Israel was 130 years old when he came into Egypt. Joseph nourished his father and his brothers, and also their possessions with bread, as much as sufficed them for the 7 years of famine. The land of Egypt suffered by reason of the famine, and Joseph acquired all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh in return for food, and he gained possession of the people and their cattle and everything for Pharaoh. When the years of famine were finished, Joseph gave to the people in the land seed and food so they might sow the land, for the river had overflowed all Egypt. For in the 7 years of famine it had not overflowed and had irrigated only a few places on the banks of the river. But now it overflowed, and the Egyptians sowed the land, and it bore much grain that year. Joseph took from the harvest the 5th part for the king, and left 4 parts for them for food and for seed, and he made it an ordinance for the land of Egypt until that day. Israel lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, and all the days which he lived were 147 years, and he died. Israel blessed his sons before he died, and told them everything that would befall them in the land of Egypt. He made known to them what would come upon them in the last days, and he blessed them and gave to Joseph 2 portions in the land. He slept with his fathers, And he was buried in the double cave in the land of Canaan near Abraham his father, in the grave which he dug for himself in Hebron. He gave all his books and the books of his fathers to Levi his son, that he might preserve them and renew them for his children until that day. Chapter 46. The death of Joseph and Israel's oppression. After Jacob died, the children of Israel multiplied in the land of Egypt, and they became a great nation. They were of one accord in heart, so that brother loved brother, and every man helped his brother, and they increased and multiplied exceedingly all the days of the life of Joseph. There was no Satan nor any evil all the days of the life of Joseph, after his father Jacob, for all the Egyptians honoured the children of Israel all the days of Joseph. Joseph died being 110 years old. 17 years he lived in the land of Canaan, 10 years he was a servant, 3 years in prison, and 80 years he ruled under the king over all the land of Egypt. He died, and all his brothers and all that generation died. Before his death, Joseph commanded the children of Israel to carry his bones with them when they went forth from the land of Egypt. He made them swear concerning his bones, for he knew the Egyptians would not bring him to be buried in the land of Canaan. For Qumran, king of Canaan, while dwelling in the land of Assyria, fought in the valley with the king of Egypt and slew him there, and pursued the Egyptians to the gates of Ermon. But he could not enter, for another, a new king, had become king of Egypt, and he was stronger than he. So he returned to the land of Canaan, and the gates of Egypt were closed, and none went out, and none came in. Joseph died, and they buried him in the land of Egypt, and his brothers died after him. Later the king of Egypt went to war with the king of Canaan. The children of Israel brought forth all the bones of the sons of Jacob, except the bones of Joseph, and they buried them in the field, in the double cave in the mountain. Most of them returned to Egypt, but a few remained in the mountains of Hebron, and Amram their father stayed with them. The king of Canaan was victorious over the king of Egypt, and he closed the gates of Egypt. He devised an evil plan against the children of Israel to afflict them, and he said to the people of Egypt, Behold, the people of the children of Israel have increased and multiplied more than we. Come, let us deal wisely with them before they become too many. Let us afflict them with slavery before war comes upon us and before they fight against us. Otherwise they will join themselves to our enemies and leave our land, for their hearts and faces are set towards the land of Canaan. He set over them taskmasters to afflict them with slavery. They built strong cities for Pharaoh, Pithom and Ramses, and they rebuilt the walls and fortifications that had fallen in the cities of Egypt. They made them serve with harshness, but the more they afflicted them, the more they increased and multiplied. And the people of Egypt came to hate the children of Israel. Chapter 47. The birth and early years of Moses. In a time of great tribulation for the children of Israel, your father went out from the land of Canaan. You were born during that season. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, gave a command that all male children born to the Israelites should be cast into the river. They cast them in for 7 months until the day you were born. Your mother hid you for 3 months, but the matter was discovered. She made a small ark for you, covered it with pitch and tar, and placed it among the reeds on the bank of the river. She placed you in it for 7 days. Your mother came by night to nurse you, and by day your sister Miriam guarded you from the birds. In those days Tharmuth, the daughter of Pharaoh, came to bathe in the river. She heard your cries and told her maidens to bring you to her. She took you from the ark and had compassion on you. Your sister said to her, "Shall I go and call one of the Hebrew women to nurse and care for the child for you?" And Tharmuth said, "Go." Your sister went and brought your mother Jochebed, and Pharaoh's daughter gave her wages, and she nursed you. Later, when you had grown up, they brought you to the daughter of Pharaoh, and you became her son. Amram, your father, taught you to write, and after you completed your education over 3 full weeks of years, they brought you into the royal court. You remained in the court for many years, until the day you went out and saw an Egyptian striking your fellow Hebrew. You killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. On the next day you saw 2 of the children of Israel fighting. You said to the one who was in the wrong, "Why do you strike your brother?" He became angry and said, "Who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian yesterday?" You became afraid and fled because of these words. Chapter 48. From the flight of Moses to the Exodus. You departed and lived in the land of Midian. You returned to Egypt. You yourself know what he spoke to you on Mount Sinai, and what the prince Mastema wanted to do to you when you were returning to Egypt on the way, when he met you at the lodging place. Did he not, with all his power, seek to kill you and deliver the Egyptians out of your hand when he saw that you were sent to execute judgment and vengeance on the Egyptians? I delivered you out of his hand, and you performed the signs and wonders you were sent to perform in Egypt against Pharaoh, against all his house, against his servants and his people. The Lord executed great vengeance on them for Israel's sake. He struck them with blood, frogs, lice, biting flies, malignant boils breaking out in sores, their cattle by death, and hailstones that destroyed everything that grew for them, and locusts that devoured what the hail had left, and darkness and the death of the firstborn of men and animals. On all their idols the Lord took vengeance and burned them with fire. Everything was sent through your hand, so that you would declare these things before they were done. And you spoke with the king of Egypt before all his servants and before his people. Everything took place according to your words. 10 great and terrible judgments came on the land of Egypt, so that you might execute vengeance on it for Israel. The Lord did everything for Israel's sake, according to his covenant which he had ordained with Abraham, that he would take vengeance on those who had brought them by force into bondage. The prince of Mastema rose up against you and sought to cast you into the hands of Pharaoh. He helped the Egyptian sorcerers, and they stood up and worked before you. The evils we permitted them to work, but the remedies we did not allow to be done by their hands. The Lord struck them with malignant ulcers, and they were not able to stand, for we destroyed them so that they could not perform a single sign. Even with all these signs and wonders, the prince of Mastema was not put to shame. He took courage and urged the Egyptians to pursue you with all their forces, with chariots and horses, with all the hosts of the people of Egypt. I stood between the Egyptians and Israel, and we delivered Israel out of his hand and out of the hand of his people. The Lord brought them through the midst of the sea as if it were dry land. All the people whom he brought to pursue Israel, the Lord our God, cast into the midst of the sea, into the depths of the abyss, beneath the children of Israel, just as the people of Egypt had cast their children into the river. He took vengeance on them, and strong and energetic men were destroyed on account of one nursing child of your people whom they had thrown into the river. On the 14th day, and on the 15th, and on the 16th, and on the 17th, and on the 18th, the prince of Mastema was bound and imprisoned behind the children of Israel, so that he would not accuse them. On the 19th we released them so they might help the Egyptians and pursue the children of Israel. He hardened their hearts, and made them stubborn. And the device was ordained by the Lord our God, so that he might strike the Egyptians and cast them into the sea. On the 14th we bound him, so that he would not accuse the children of Israel on the day when they asked the Egyptians for vessels and garments, vessels of silver, vessels of gold, and vessels of bronze, in order to despoil the Egyptians in return for the bondage with which they had forced them to serve. We did not lead the children of Israel from Egypt empty-handed. Chapter 49. Regulations regarding the Passover. Remember the commandment which the Lord commanded you concerning the Passover, that you should celebrate it in its season on the 14th of the first month, that you should kill it before evening, and that they should eat it by night on the evening of the 15th, from the time of the setting of the sun. On this night, the beginning of the festival and the beginning of joy, you were eating the Passover in Egypt, when all the powers of Mastema were let loose to kill all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh to the firstborn of the captive maidservant at the mill, and the firstborn of the cattle. This is the sign the Lord gave them. Into every house on whose lintels they saw the blood of a lamb of the first year, into that house they would not enter to kill, but would pass by it, so that all who were in the house would be saved, because the sign of the blood was on its lintels. The powers of the Lord did everything as he commanded them. They passed by all the children of Israel, and the plague did not come upon them to destroy any soul among them, of cattle or of people or of dogs. The plague was very grievous in Egypt, and there was no house in Egypt where there was not one dead, with weeping and lamentation. All Israel was eating the flesh of the Passover lamb and drinking the wine, praising and blessing and giving thanks to the Lord God of their fathers, and they were ready to go out from under the yoke of Egypt and from the evil bondage. Remember this day all the days of your life, and keep it year by year all the days of your life, once each year on its day, according to all its law, and do not postpone it from day to day or from month to month. It is an eternal ordinance, written on the heavenly tablets for all the children of Israel, that they should observe it every year on its day, throughout all their generations, and there is no limit of days, for this is ordained forever. The person who is free from uncleanness and does not come to observe it on its day, to bring an acceptable offering before the Lord, and to eat and drink before the Lord on the day of its festival, that person who is clean and close at hand will be cut off, because he did not offer the Lord's oblation in its appointed season. He will bear his guilt. Let the children of Israel come and observe the Passover on its fixed day, on the 14th day of the first month, between the evenings, from the third part of the day to the third part of the night, for 2 portions of the day belong to the light and a third to the evening. This is what the Lord commanded you, that you should observe it between the evenings. It is not permissible to slay it during the period of full light, but during the time bordering on evening. And let them eat it at the time of evening until the third part of the night. Whatever is left of all its flesh, from the third part of the night and onward, let them burn with fire. They shall not cook it with water, nor eat it raw, but roast it on the fire. They shall eat it with diligence, its head with its inwards and its feet roasted with fire, and they shall not break any bone of it, for of the children of Israel no bone shall be crushed. For this reason the Lord commanded the children of Israel to observe the Passover on its fixed day, and they shall not break a bone of it, for it is a festival day and a commanded day. There may be no passing it over from day to day or month to month. On the day of its festival let it be observed, Command the children of Israel to observe the Passover throughout their days, every year, once a year on its fixed day, and it will be a memorial well-pleasing before the Lord. No plague will come upon them to kill or to strike in the year in which they celebrate the Passover in its season in every respect, according to his command. They shall not eat it outside the sanctuary of the Lord, but before the sanctuary of the Lord. All the people of the congregation of Israel shall celebrate it in its appointed season. Every man who comes on its day shall eat it in the sanctuary of your God before the Lord from 20 years old and upward. For thus it is written and ordained that they should eat it in the sanctuary of the Lord. When the children of Israel come into the land they are to possess, into the land of Canaan, and set up the tabernacle of the Lord in the midst of the land in one of their tribes, until the sanctuary of the Lord has been built in the land, let them come and celebrate the Passover in the midst of the tabernacle of the Lord, and let them slay it before the Lord year by year. In the days when the house has been built in the name of the Lord in the land of their inheritance, they shall go there and slay the Passover in the evening, at sunset, at the third part of the day. They will offer its blood on the threshold of the altar and place its fat on the fire which is upon the altar. They shall eat its flesh roasted with fire in the court of the house which has been sanctified in the name of the Lord. They may not celebrate the Passover in their cities, nor in any place except before the tabernacle of the Lord, or before his house where his name has dwelt, and they will not go astray from the Lord. Moses, command the children of Israel to observe the ordinances of the Passover as it was commanded to you. Declare to them every year the festival of unleavened bread, that they should eat unleavened bread 7 days, that they should observe its festival, and that they bring an oblation every day during those 7 days of joy before the Lord on the altar of your God. You celebrated this festival with haste when you went forth from Egypt, until you entered the wilderness of Shur, for on the shore of the sea you completed it. Chapter 50. Laws regarding the Jubilees and the Sabbath. After this law I made known to you the days of the Sabbaths in the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai. I told you of the Sabbaths of the land on Mount Sinai, and I told you of the Jubilee years in the Sabbaths of years, but the specific year I have not told you until you enter the land you are to possess. The land also will keep its Sabbaths while they dwell upon it, and they will know the Jubilee year. I have ordained for you the year weeks and the years and the Jubilees. From the days of Adam until this day there are 49 Jubilees and a little beyond, and there are years yet to come for learning the commandments of the Lord until they pass over into the land of Canaan, crossing the Jordan to the west. The Jubilees will pass by until Israel is cleansed from all guilt of fornication, uncleanness, pollution, sin and error, and dwells with confidence in all the land. There will no longer be a Satan or any evil one, and the land will be clean from that time forever. Behold, the commandment regarding the Sabbaths, I have written them down for you, and all the judgments of its laws. 6 days you shall labor, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. On it you shall do no work, you and your sons, your male servants and your female servants, all your cattle, and the foreigners living in the land who is with you. The one who does any work on it shall die, whoever desecrates that day, whoever lies with a spouse, or says he will set out on a journey on it, or engages in buying or selling, whoever draws water on it which he did not prepare on the 6th day, and whoever takes up a burden to carry it out of his tent or out of his house shall die. You shall do no work on the Sabbath day except what you have prepared for yourselves on the 6th day, so as to eat and drink and rest, to keep Sabbath from all work on that day, and to bless the Lord your God, who has given you a day of festival and a holy day, a day of the holy kingdom. For all Israel is this day among their days forever. Great is the honour the Lord has given to Israel, that they should eat and drink and be satisfied on this festival day, and rest from all labour that belongs to the work of human beings, except burning frankincense and bringing oblations and sacrifices before the Lord for appointed days and for Sabbaths. This work alone shall be done on the Sabbath days in the sanctuary of the Lord your God, that they may atone for Israel with sacrifice continually, as a memorial well-pleasing before the Lord, and that he may receive them always as you have been commanded. Every person who does any work on it, or goes on a journey, or tills a field, whether at home or elsewhere, whoever lights a fire, rides any beast, travels by ship on the sea, strikes or kills anything, slaughters a beast or a bird, catches an animal or a bird or a fish, fasts, or makes war on the Sabbaths, the person who does any of these things on the Sabbath shall die, so that the children of Israel will observe the Sabbaths according to the commandments about the Sabbaths of the land, as it is written in the tablets which he gave into my hands, that I should write for you the laws of the seasons and the seasons, according to the division of their days. Here the account of the division of the days is completed. This completes all the chapters of the Book of Jubilees.